Hello and welcome here, everyone. We're excited to be here, excited to get underway with our next matchup here on week number 2 of the Crunch Time Infinity League. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Orbital. With me is, of course, Ice Fire Ride Cast, and we will be your casters for this evening. Ice, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's week 2 of Infinity League. We have a good matchup for tonight, and I just can't wait to get started.
It's going to be a good one. And of course, today we do have the ever so amazing Ember Wolves going up against Quantum Order. And the Ember Wolves, of course, starting things out, I believe, with a victory 2-1 over CEL earlier on last week. This time around, though, going to try and get the record back and get it into even better order. I believe over Quantum Order, who got a bye in the first week. So this will be their first actual week of play.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit of an unknown coming in for Quantum Order as to what style they like to play. Of course, we have, multi.ggs and things like that to look at as far as stats go, but in terms of actually seeing them on the Rift, this is going to be the first time in this league that we're going to see them. Ember Wolves, they did go 2-1 over Cupid Esports Light, who were the reigning champions from last split. So that is something to keep in mind. Coming off of a big win there, can they bring it into week 2? And that's what we're going to be waiting to see if they're able to do that tonight.
That's the hope. And of course, taking a look at some of the stuff, we do have to mention that Aurora is still banned. Not going to be having that here today, no matter what, so you don't have to worry about that. Of course, Aurora seeing an abysmally low play rate and win rate at the current moment might be getting some love in the next patch, so we'll see how that works out. But at the current moment, no worries. We are still seeing the rise of Ezreal, still being up there, as well as Ashe, both ADCs still currently highly prioritized. So we'll see if they're locked in here at the current moment. Ember Wolves are seeing on that blue side and Quantum Order on that red side to start off the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really where we get to start to see what these teams decide to do. And the Yorick, Viego being taken off the ban, there was no waiting with those. Yorick being focused at the top laner of Quantum Order plays a lot of that into almost every matchup that I could find. So something that is extremely comfortable for him leads to more of a split push style, either 4-1 or 1-3-1. Taking it off the board kind of limits their play, along with that Milio, which is the most played for their support Amanda.
And for Quantum Order, you do have to do the target bans. You were mentioning the Viego, that one's targeted over at Jerry. And then the Echo, I mean, you're looking at Ember Wolves, their mid laner is named LostinEkkos. Other two bans to fly out pretty dang quickly is the Zeri targeted at Mango, and then the Lilia still targeted at Jerry. So double ban against the jungler, but that does leave open a wide range of ADCs. We mentioned it before. The Ezreal was open, so you might as well pick it up. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ashe come out, and there it is. Quantum Order, go ahead, grab the biggest ADCs, and then lock in the Leona afterwards.
That's a great setup already coming from the Quantum Order bot lane with the Ashe and the Leona. There's a lot of lockdown, a lot of slow, and a lot of damage, surprisingly, coming out of Ashe early when you can start to build up that Q passive and start to use that and get those multiple arrows flying at once. But Tristana's still on the board, one of those contested mid lanes that is a viable along with the Ezreal. So we'll have to be looking to see. And they choose to go for the Braum. So I'm assuming that's probably an Ezreal Braum bot lane, a pretty good bot lane into what Quantum Order have drafted. Here, I'd say they have to go jungle just because they've already been double banned out once. You don't want to take any more bans there and might get shoved to your third, fourth, or fifth pick, or fourth, fifth, or sixth actually, because there's 2 bans against them. So something that is to be kept in mind for Ember Wolves is: are you going to risk your jungler, or maybe go for the mid laner and try to get some prio there?
Well, I think the other side is you could go top. Ornn played pretty heavily by HB Gamer. Actually, I think that's on the other side. No, it is Ornn. One of the most played. I was like, yeah, one of them does. Here's the thing. You can still flex Ezreal into that mid lane. It is still well known as a mid lane pick as well. So hiding it, I think actually does a lot for the Ember Wolves. You don't want to show jungle, which might get pinched here. But for Quantum Order, you do have to realize, hey, we can't focus on the jungle only. We could, but that might snare up a few things. So I think Everwolves hiding out what they're going to run ADC or mid using the Ezreal as a flex more than viable at the current state. Ornn versus Set here is a tried and true matchup, one that we've seen all the time. There's nothing really crazy up there. So we'll take a look at these bans. You were saying jungle. I'm looking at that ADC pool. If you wish to force that Ezreal into that bottom lane, you go ahead, pinch the rest of the ADCs. There's the Varus coming out here. I wouldn't be surprised to see another one follow through.
Yeah, and followed up with that Nidalee now the junglers being taken out by Ember Wolves, trying to tap down what Quantum Order is trying to play. They have an excellent setup already. Throwing a Nidalee into what they had would have been very potent, so I like to see that taken off the table. Waiting on this last ban now from Quantum Order. I like the ADC route that they're going. I wouldn't mind seeing a mid laner, and it's actually going to be Karthus Jungle being taken off the board, and the mid laner Orianna immediately taken out by Ember Wolf. So very quick on the bans coming out from Ember Wolves. Quantum Order, they already have their top. We're looking at jungle. We're looking at mid. I'm assuming it's going to be a jungle here. Save that mid for last, as that could be the most kind of influential pick of what you're trying to put together in your draft. And it's actually going to be mid laner here. They're willing to say we're going to counter pick jungle. Not too often
Hmm.
seen.
We've seen it rise a little bit, I would say, especially when it comes to some of the hard carries. I know Jerry loves to run those carries of Viego, Lilia, and I mean, you are hovering over that Graves. I think that one has been left open throughout the entirety of the draft. So if Jerry does go for the Graves, that's why they're hovering this Acel, which Acel has needed some love. I believe the play rate actually spikes, so they're actually looking to rein in Acel next patch. So getting to see that one come out here, that is going to force the Ezreal into that bottom lane, like you were talking about. And now for Ember Wolves, you have enough CC in just about every lane. Jerry gets to play any carry jungler that they so wish. They can go for that Graves. They can go for something like if you want to get crazy, a Kha'Zix. I don't think Kha'Zix is meta right now, but there are a lot of options if you wish to try and carry. And there is that Graves that we mentioned, one of the most played for Jerry, kind of forced into it by Quantum Order. They are saying this is what we wanted. Let's see what they got against it.
Yeah, and I like this Graves pick. It goes well with the entire comp. You have some late game insurance with the Aurelion Soul, but good early game fighting potential with the Braum, with the Graves, and the Ezreal. Once you get Ornn involved, it'll be very hard to really be able to get through them as well with what they've drafted so far. And they're gonna go for the Kindred as their last lock-in. I'm not used to seeing a Kindred too often. As a Kindred player myself back in the day when Kindred was first released, it's a very interesting champion that is very heavily dictated on the timings of the map and how you move around your marks. If you aren't able to start stacking those marks early, you're gonna fall behind, and it's gonna be hard, especially against something like a Graves that can dish out a lot more damage than you, especially early.
And I mean, this is one of Celery's most played champions as well. But in that same vein, you have to sit there and go, yeah, it is very timing based. And if you're Ember Wolves who have already won a Series 2-1, you want to be running a little bit more strong armed into this. These are players that know their champions pretty much inside and out, so they should have a good idea. I like it though. Again, another carry to back up. I was looking at the damage output, and honestly, Quantum Order did need a little bit more punch. Ashe is not known as a hyper DPS. It's elongated battles. You go ahead and follow through with those volleys, and then you deal the damage. Play takes a little bit of time to ramp up. So where's your extra damage coming from? It's this Kindred that can get rolling through. However, Ember Wolves can do the exact same thing, and let's talk about it because the Graves has a lot of backup with that Acel in that mid lane and the Ezreal there. I mean, I think the Ember Wolves had drafted a pretty dang good comp against Quantum.
They've drafted themselves a little bit of a bouncy castle. When you get that upgraded Skies Descend ultimate, that's gonna knock everybody up. Bring in the Ornhorn plus the Braum ultimate. Like, there is very little like non-bouncy castle moments if you get into a 5v5 with all of the ultimates upgraded and ready to go. It's definitely a good team fight oriented composition that they've drafted for themselves. Do have some concerns with this set depending on who they want to throw back into the team and kind of body slam. So you have to play around that a little bit, but for the most part, Ember Wolves don't really want to get like super in your face. They want to keep you at range a little bit with this Ezreal, poke you down first, and then engage when you've taken some of that damage, knowing that it's going to be very hard for the side of Quantum Order to really dish that back when all they have really is that Ashe volley.
It's the how are we going to deal with this a little bit on either side, and let's go a little bit into the laning because I do want to mention this bottom lane is one of the premieres. You talk about the Braum and the Ezreal, it's well known. You talk about the Ashe Leona. Ash pairs with anything, really. And the fact that you were laying in a little bit to that Ezreal and the Ash, both of these ADCs want to do different things. Do we see some fighting in the bottom lane then? Quantum Order and Ember Wolves, are they sending their junglers down there? Are we seeing like the double TPs, or are we seeing them left largely unattended to?
I don't think we'll see double TPs. I think that's a little too aggressive, but definitely when you look at the Ezreal Braum Ash Leona will have a little bit more push just because of how the auto attacks are with the volleys. You're going to be trying to poke with volley, and when that happens, you're going to be catching that wave. So it's going to generate push for you, unless you're able to counteract that and not see as auto attack as much. But typically, the Ash Leona will have push, which means that Graves might have opportunities. If the Ash Leona do overextend, you just have to be wary of that Zenith Blade to get out, or that stun to then to turn onto the Graves. But I think for the most part, junglers are going to be wanting to play around this bot side. I wouldn't be surprised if Graves does play around this Ornn and this set, just for that early grub take. They can forego that dragon, get those grubs. I think they'll be very useful. I think they're useful for both sides, but I think for Emberwolves, they need them just a little bit more.
I could see that. I could see that. Get a little bit of help down there, see what you can do. And in the mid lane, I mean, this is one of your tried and true matchups of we don't want to do anything. I mean, we're gonna see a power farm come out here. Asoul is gonna sit in the mid lane, just try and power up. The Hui though, this one is a special of Ziad. Played it quite a bit, has had it under the wing for quite some time, and we know Hui can dish out damage. But in the current meta, we see a lot more of the hard CC coming in here, and Hui's a little bit of everything. Now, I want to bring this to you because are we going to see, do you think this way is actually going to have a good time? Are we going to see the play actually excel because it is a Ziad special, or do you think in the current meta it's not that great?
I don't think Hui is in a bad spot, especially because of the map changes that were made in the off season. With the river bushes being pushed back, it opened up a lot more of these. We're just gonna sit back and scale, and as long as neither Aurelion Sol nor the Hui overextend in lane, go past that midpoint. Aurelion Sol has his flight, Hui has his fear. Like, there's no real opportunities because the Kindred and Graves, they're very telegraphed in their ganks. They're very short range. At neither point should either of these mid laners be caught out if they're playing the lane correctly. If they're hovering the sides of the lane that their jungler is on when they're in river, if they're sitting back and waiting for the waves, if they're not over aggressing. That does open you up though to freezes happening, but for the most part, they are longer range carries at the same time, or they can be if they so wish to play that way.
Okay, okay. Giving a little bit of love to Hui's way, and I'll be honest, I'm not thrilled by it. I love Hui to the bottom of my heart. It's a very fun champion. It reminds me of Invoker from Dota 2. That's where I'm pretty sure the idea came from. The cycling of spells. I just feel bad. The guy can do everything but have a happy life. That's what we're saying there. Right now, in the current moment, though, I got to go down the line, and I want to ask you, Ice, is there a team comp that you look at and say it just synergizes really, really well? Or are both squads pretty well and good, and it really is going to come down to that execution?
At this level, it comes down to execution. If I had to choose one over the other, I'd go for Ember Wolves, just because if Set gets behind, they can't really do much. If Ornn
Mm,
gets behind, you always have that Ornn horn to knock
okay.
people up. So with Set, yeah, you can throw somebody back in and get in the middle of that team, but you're not going to really be able to do much unless you're ahead or even. And if you get Set behind, you're kind of out of luck.
Okay. Okay. Listen, we'll lean into the Ember Wolves a little bit. We'll give them their dues right there, and we'll see if they can get a victory. Because for them, it'll be a 2-0 at the end of the day. Now, of course, they also want a 2-0 on the game score as well. They want to show that they're a dominant force because there's only so many weeks inside of this season. So, if they're to get the ball rolling here, Ice, where would you want to see that come from? Because we did mention that, hey, the Graves can go just about anywhere. You can head to the bottom lane, you can head to top, but you preferably would want it to go to top side. Where do you want to see that first blood come out from? Where do you want to see that lead be generated from?
It has to be generated from the Graves. If you're looking at
Mm,
Ember Wolves, Graves is really this early game catalyst for this team that can get them into that mid game. If Graves is behind, they're not really able to do much. And when they're ahead, they can really take over a game. Ezreal needs to get to that 1.5, 2 item mark to really start to dish out the damage that they need. A Soul needs that same kind of time to ramp up. If that Graves can give them that time by getting ahead early and buying that space that this Aurelion Sol need, it's going to be a lot harder for Quantum Order to really close that gap. Kindred's not going to want to get in there. It's going to be up to the Leona and the set to really be able to start things off, and it's not going to be easy for them.
I think that's very, very true. So taking a look at the Graves, wherever the Graves goes, wherever Jerry decides to go, we need to see action and we need to see proactivity, which I really, really like that call. It'll be interesting to see as well if LostinEkkos is able to join in and help out from that mid lane. I know Asol loves to ramp up, but the current meta is float through that mid lane. Had the mid lane of roam, see what you can get. At the current moment, though, we'll see if the players can defy our expectations or if they fall well within limitations as we are headed into game number 1. Both Ember Wolves and Quantum Order are ready to show their stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look into the game, see what they got to offer, and hopefully we're going to have a good time. On the side of Ember Wolves, we got HP Gamer in the top side, Jerry in the jungle, LostinEkkos in the mid lane, Attack Dog in the ADC role, and Amanda at support.
And then on the other side for Quantum Order, we have What the Heccin on the set, Sir Celery on the Kindred, Ziad on the Hui, Mango the Magus on Ashe, and then Janto on the Leona. And it's going to be up to them to start things off to get themselves over this Graves and get themselves set up for success, because we all know what happens when Asol and Ezreal start to scale.
Just becomes a painful, painful lesson in why did we let all this go through. That's really what we're going to be looking at. And of course, first proc for the Mana Flow ban goes the way of Ziad. I believe they are running that one. I mean, you have Arcane Comet. Why wouldn't you run Mana Flow ban? I know some people don't like it, but I love an extra 250 mana plus what extra regen behind it. I think someone did the math, and it works out pretty well once you land all your abilities.
Yeah, it's an insane amount of mana that you are able to get from not only the Mana Flow band, but they like to also go into that tier for the build path, which just means even more mana. I think it's like 360 on top of it. So you're looking at almost 550 to 600 mana extra on top of your base, which is really, really nice to have.
Of course, at the moment, you do have to wait to get that tier. You are just going to hold here. Zia's like, yep, I'll wait. No worries. I'm going to chill out and just make sure I'm in a really, really good spot. For LostinEkkos, though, running in the resolves tree, so cutting out a little bit of that DPS and a little bit extra behind to ensure that you got some nice durability. Of course, at the current moment, Ziad hitting a level 2 ASAP is going to ensure that Jerry doesn't really get that extra bonus of having control over the jungle. You can see the pings going down, and yeah, that's going to happen each time. So Jerry, I mean, just making sure that the wave is clear.
Yeah, walking in, making sure that they're in a good spot, and then What the Heccin has some good push already into Ornn, which is expected. As long as the set can keep pressure on this Ornn, it's going to be hard for Ornn to really do much, as they don't like farming under tower. It's not the easiest for them, especially because of that Bellows Breath. So they have to kind of plan their CSing accordingly. And then already the set getting into Jerry's face as they're trying to do the blue buff and tracking them out is super crucial, as anywhere this Graves goes, you need to know where they're at to make sure that Jerry cannot have an impact early when they want it.
That's why we're watching this full clear and kind of suspense, because they did start on opposite sides of the map. They are going to be meeting on opposite sides of this rift, and because of that, Attack Dog and Amanda do have to be a little bit careful. I like this ward going down a little bit late. You go ahead, drop that down, but it's What the Heccin. It's actually the one that has to flash away. Flash for flash is met, but Jerry can run them down fairly easily. Get a little bit of extra fragment damage. Bellows Breath, though, is going to be knocked out, and that's going to be a huge haymaker. Not going to land, though. Flash for flash in the top lane leaves everyone a little bit spicy.
Very spicy times in the top lane already, as Kindred's going for a massive wraparound here. Should get spotted out on the wards.
Well, this is wild as well. No, not spotted, just barely out of range. And that is actually pretty lucky, I think, because if you didn't do that, Jerry would still assume that they're outside on the map. You assume that, hey, I can't go for some crazy moves again. But if you see Celery recalling, then you're like, okay, this is going to be a problem. So Jerry recalls, everything is net neutral, only top laners have lost their flash, and on the bot side, we're seeing a little extra poke. Other than that, though, Dragon will be coming up, Infernal Dragon to start. Not a bad one to fight for.
No, not a bad one to fight for, and that kind of changes the game plan slightly. You saw the Graves trying to make plays up top, but since they cleared bot to top, they're going to be on bot lane first to try to make a difference. As it's going to be aggressive going for attack dog, trying to make a play as Jerry's in the area, but there's just such a massive wave. They took more damage than they dished out.
They did not enjoy this factor, and at the current moment, it allows Attack Dog to kind of even things back up. You can see the CS differential. Both sides are kind of, okay, hey, this is what we got to deal with. Sir Celery, though, looking for a little bit of a dive under the tower if some more damage can go down. Quite honestly, I don't think it's a bad call. Heccin should hit level 6, I want to say, or did they miss? No, it's only going to be level 5. It's a massive wave coming in here, and I'm not sure if kill threat is going to be there. However, they are bringing reinforcements. Ziad from very far away could do some work. However, Haymaker goes out once again, dodging away, though, from the lightning strike, and that's going to be the kill. First blood. HP Gamer gets a double kill. Disaster striking on the other side of the map, and it does mean that HP Gamer is a freaking god. 2 for 1 in a top lane that Quantum Order out of order.
Quantum Order gets put out of order. Gavel banging, everybody going crazy, as that is a 2 for 1 trade. The Ornn putting in massive work, and since you know the Kindred's dead, it's Graves going up to that top side knowing that that set had to go mid to start off these grubs. This is not good for this Kindred because they have to go back to farming. There is an opportunity for a dragon contest for the side of Ember Wolves at the same time after they take the rest of these grubs.
That was just disastrous to watch unfold, I have to say. That was painful. And you can almost see the immediate chase into, we got to stop this. We know this grub is being done. That's going to be a little bit of a hawk shot coming out, but it's a smite. So Jerry gets it all. Jerry still has flash. It's going to be a draw in thanks to what the heccin, but there's no follow-up. So Jerry gets everything on the top side of the map. Of course, Celery might be able to get a mark if he can. Oh, I like this call. Yes, you know exactly what to do. You go ahead, rotate in. HP Gamer going to come around the side. And I think they're going to try and force it. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a rough one. You're only level 5. You're not going to enjoy this one. That's going to be a huge queue to come out. But in it over the wall, LostinEkkos is going to fight it off. And that leaves what the heck in a dire strait. This set can only do so much. But hold on, huge haymaker leaves what the heck in a good punch. And Ziad's coming in for the clothesline, meaning LostinEkkos is lost in their own jungle. And now you're running for your life. The stars do not align. And that is LostinEkkos to fall. And all of a sudden, Quantum Order are right back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they called that meeting back to order and brought it back to their side, and it was a little bit of a miscommunication. It felt like they tried to bite off more than they could chew. LostinEkkos going for the Kindred kill while Jerry and HP Gamer went for that set, and unfortunately they got nothing instead except for 2 deaths on the card. So now with Graves on the spot side with the bot lane pushing, there is an opportunity for them to grab this Infernal Dragon, which is a big boon for them, having picked up the grubs and the dragon. You do not see this too often right now in this meta.
It's very, I would say, somewhat difficult unless you're smashing all the lanes to get every global objective. Now, of course, keep in mind, early grubs and dragons, I don't think put too much down on the table. You have to be able to rotate it into your proactive moves. You have to get in that early punch. And you can even see here, Jerry doesn't really want to go for it. You don't actually have eyes on Sir Celery. You can't figure out exactly where they're going to go. So you can't start the dragon. What you can do is look to get messy on this bottom lane. You hope that you can get some extra damage. Good tag of the bites there. Amanda trying to keep a little bit of a strength. But of course, where is this fully going to come to head? It seems like they might be meeting here. Sir Celery realizing that, hey, my Gromp is being taken away, but Jerry already going to be floating away.
Yeah, Jerry already on the other side of that wall, playing it out very nicely, as now with the help of LostinEkkos, they get to sit here, and Sir Celery's in a bit of a pickle as attack dog.
This is actually going to bring a whole different fight coming around here because Janto realizes they might be in a little bit of trouble. Amanda is going to take away low, but what a beautiful Lamb's Respite leads it to a 1v1. Jerry's now going to come crashing in, but loses their life as well. LostinEkkos realizes that they are going to die one way or another. Attack Dog, though, trying their best to lay down damage in the rights, but you can't fight against a Hwei Ashe. It feels like good fear, good slow. Cleanse is only going to do so much. Volley is not going to land, and instead Attack Dog is going to get run down. A final fireball to their back leads to a finale with HP Gamer dying in a 1v1.
What an insane turn of events across the map. I think that was a little bit too aggressive of a play coming out from Ember Wolves. I know that they felt like they needed to make something happen there because they didn't know where Kindred was at first, and then they saw it and they're like, yeah, we can take this fight. You know, we're winning out in the bot lane. We have the push. Ezreal can be there first, but Ezreal's not online yet. They have to understand that. And for this Graves, you're not dealing out the damage that you really need to, and it makes it a little bit harder. Yes, you got the 2 kills, but it's just not, you know, it's not on the Graves, so it's not what they need. Is LostinEkkos has to fly out of there. With Janto coming in, there was a genuine kill threat coming out for the side of Quantum Order onto the Aurelion Soul, but now for Ember Wolves, they need to tamp down the aggression a little bit. Focus on the objectives. Don't focus on getting those kills and then the objectives. If you have the vision control around it, especially this early, you don't need a lot. You just need some basic wards around it to know where people are coming from or where this jungler is. If you can get those, then you're perfectly fine starting up this objective. And now, I think this is a good trade. Nobody's going to get the 6 grubs, but for Ember Wolves, this Infernal Dragon is going to help them out as they do need the better early game right now.
They just need to get moving. It feels like they just have not had that sense of overwhelming kill threat. They haven't been able to utilize Jerry as much as they wanted, who is currently sitting on 0-2 and 2. Sir Celery, I believe, has been farming up the marks decently well. I mean, you have 5 assists, so you've at least gotten 2. This one, though, is going to be a little bit interesting. This call down of the lava is going to mean a little bit of a difference because Ziad feels like in full control of this mid lane. 4-0 and 2 thanks to some of the earlier fights. Maybe we get to see a little bit more as what the heccin is also trying to turn 4 or 5. I'm not sure if you want to fully fight this one out, but they're getting low enough, and that's going to be a slam into the tower, but there's not much you can do. You only had about 100 HP. HP Gamer getting some revenge as the train's off the rails.
Yeah, HP Gamer played that really nice. Put out the Ornhorn, got the knock up into the Brittle auto attack into the Bellows Breath. That of course then got him launched back under his tower. So no matter what, he was going to win that fight because of the slam under tower. And now they just get to push out the wave, get a little bit, but that TP coming out from the set's going to be very useful to keeping pressure on this Ornn. The big things now are for Ember Wolves is continue to ramp up. You need more on this map. They need to be a little bit more greedy in getting this Graves ahead and shutting this Kindred out. This Kindred has already 4 or 5 marks just by how they've been farming. They have 4 marks right now, we can see, and they're farming those marks well. You need to slow that down if you want a shot at keeping this Kindred from having the range that she loves to have in these mid-game team fights.
I mean, this is one way to do it. You go ahead, solo out that top side if you can, but what the heck, and gets a great punch once again, and Jerry has just not been enjoying their top lane trek. Oh, Celery, though. Celery saying, I get this kill. Last auto attack gets it. Jerry flashed so late in Quantum Order saying, yo, we're refreshed from our week 1 bye, and we're just going to take over 9-5 right now with a 3.2k lead.
And it feels like they don't, on the side of Ember Wolves, they're not used to playing against a Kindred. Usually when you're playing against a Kindred, you need to play aggressive in the lane, as that's a really good Sky's Descend onto Ziad.
Oh, but it's a good fear behind, and that means Ziad's going to get time to have a little bit of safety, and that's a flash out from Ekkos, but a snipe from the sky! It's just that simple. From jungle to mid, Quantum Order rule the Rift.
Playing this out so well. They've shut this Graves down. They're not letting this Graves get any 1v1s, as now there's the first one, but it just doesn't matter at this point. As
nope.
Sir Celery just has too much damage for this Graves to handle, and Sir Celery played it out really well, understanding how the Graves needs to play and then not giving them the walls to shotgun off of.
Oh, this is painful to watch here. Lamb's Respite with the snipe from the sky. It's just too easy. Quantum Order are rolling Ember Wolves over on their belly, snuffing the flames out. There's almost nothing that they can do. Mango will fall, but it's only an execute. And at this point, it is double, nearly triple the kill of the Wolves. This is wild stuff here as Quantum Order are putting on a show here in the Infinity League.
They are, and they have pressure in mid. Mid tower is going to be going down first, set rotating over during that play. I love to see that out of teams when they know they're making a play bot side. They're going to sack a little bit top, especially because it's an Ornn. You know that they're not going to be able to do much to a tower. Bring that set mid so you have that mid pressure, you have them around in case you need them, while the rest of the team is bot making that play happen. So well coordinated, so well played, and for Quantum Order, just keep up this pressure. You have the Herald on the cards now. It has spawned, and you can easily take that off the map. This Graves and Ornn can't touch you, and with Ezreal sitting bot against Hui, I mean, they're not even going to be in this fight, and this Aurelion Sol might prove a problem, but we haven't really seen a lot of them yet, as this fight is going to get started off now.
Oh, this fight is going to be more than nasty. It's not even a fight, it's a slaughter. It will be bullying of the highest order. Amanduh put into the grave. The shield does literally nothing, and they get to call down a 15.5-minute Herald. Quantum Order putting to work the mistake of the early game, saying, hey, we made one mistake. It doesn't define our game.
I'm interested by this play here by Sir Celery. I would say just start up this Herald so you can actually get rotation timing for this Dragon, but instead, Aurelion Sol's keeping very deep into this bot side to try to make a play onto Ziad.
And it looks like they might be able to get it. I mean, Ziad has to run away, but there's nowhere really to go. So really, you're just stalling out time, because take a look at the mid lane. The longer Ziad stays alive, the better. Two-Shot Barrage is only going to do a little bit because Jerry comes in for the cleanup, but you're going to lose the tower in the mid lane. Yes, you got a shutdown, but this is the true calling. Break open the mid lane while this Herald is being taken. So for Ziad, yes, you gave a shutdown over. Your team gets everything.
Your team gets everything. They got the Herald, they got the mid-tier 2, and they have priority for dragging now. Yes, Kindred isn't quite there yet, but JerryX is already down 75% HP, is backing, knowing that they cannot contest for this second dragon. And they've called it off. You can see they've all recalled, they're all resetting on the map, knowing that there's nothing that they're able to do. Ornn, putting in some work on this top turret, does manage to take it down, is a good start. They got some objective bounty gold, but they are down 6.5, almost 7,000 gold against Quantum Order right now on the side of Ember Wolves. They are not looking good. You know, this Hui, you can see how comfortable Ziad is on it. 6-1-3, Ashe is 3-1-5, and Kindred, Sir Celery, is it? I mean, I wouldn't say it's a quiet 3-2-9, as that's an Ashe arrow that lands from downtown.
It's just that easy. At this point, you have given the power picks over, and Sir Celery is ramping up. You are sitting on about 400. It doesn't matter because there's a Two-Shot Barrage, and there's the Lamb's Respite. It's just that easy to get out of town. Celery gets a little bit of healing. You're going to bounce over the wall, and you're going to help out Ziad in claiming this this bot side tower. Quantum Order showing off everything that they can do, and I am wholly impressed at what they are bringing here to this game. Quite honestly, if they don't close out in under 20 minutes, I'm going to be so sad. That's going to be an ultimate. Paint them a picture, Ziad. Show them what you got. Glacial Fissure, though, denies any further aggression.
Denies any further aggression. LostinEkkos also turns to make sure that the Herald doesn't get a second charge off, but what in the heccin is just bashing on HP Gamer here, saying, you've solo killed me twice, but it's not going to be enough, as I'm just going to take the tower in your face and I do not care.
It's just, at this point, it's just gold sling. I mean, Jerry hasn't had anything. That's going to be another leap to go over the wall. And Celery is going to realize they're now in a little bit of a tight spot, but dodging out on that first Q leaves you pretty nice and safe. Long shot ultimate, though, as the train runs by. Sir Celery, though, says, yo, look at your own ADC, as that is Attack Dog put down and told to sit. This is heccin saying, yo, we are ruling this side of the rift. There is nothing that you can do. You are now 9K in the lead. Quantum Order, there is nothing that they cannot do.
They're playing this out very, very cleanly, not over-aggressing into certain scenarios. Yeah, there's a moment where it looked like Celery was in a bit of a pickle, but the rest of the team was there, and they took out Attack Dog without any issues, so that Celery had a way out. They're not aggressing as ones or twos, they're aggressing as a team, which is really, really nice to see, especially in an amateur scene like this, because typically, even at high elo, you don't see this kind of coordination coming out all of the time. And this might be a little bit of an overaggress finally by Celery, but no, they jump over the wall.
And plus the arrow to land means there's so much time to work with, but Attack Dog comes out of spawn, says, yo, let me get my revenge, gets a kill behind him. Of course, Janto is now going to send them a little bit into the low lane. Attack Dog has to get over. Arcane Shift keeps you safe, but look at Mango. Mango running so free right now. That is now the third death of Celery. Celery's still a massive fighter.
Yeah, I mean, just because they died doesn't mean like they're out of this game at all, because they're so strong still. And when they are actually able to use their ultimate, I don't think they were expecting that Mystic Shot to land from Attack Dog, because I think they had their ultimate up during that fight. They just didn't use it. And a little bit of ego there, a little bit of maybe misplaying, not understanding that Q was gonna hit, means that they did go down, but this is just an immediate turn to Baron with your jungler just now getting out of base. That's how far ahead they are. That's how comfortable they are in this game, and there's nothing that Ember Wolves can do about it.
This is getting a little bit out of control. We'll see how they lay it down, though. This is going to be that Baron smited away, taken in their own right. And of course, just kind of wandering away. They are fine. Now let's see how this Baron helps close it out, though, because I said I wanted to see it about 20 minutes. Maybe that was a little bit over-aggressive. However, if it's not ended by 25, I'll be very, very surprised, because at 25, that means Ember Wolves have been given way too much time to clear out these waves, to clear out just about everything that they want to do and farm up a little bit more. And that'll mean LostinEkkos is also going to be a real champion at that point, because that'll get you at least like another item and a half.
Yeah, I mean, typically with first Baron, you want to crack open the base, but with how far ahead Quantum Order is, it's not just about cracking open the base anymore. They need to break Nexus turrets, if not the Nexus with this Baron. That's how far ahead, and that's the expectation that is laid before them at their feet right now. It's not an easy task by any means. Like, there is still a lot of League left to play, potentially, especially if LostinEkkos can play safe and clear waves the way that they need to, but that is the one downside to this composition that Ember Wolves have drafted for themselves. They don't have wave clear. If LostinEkkos has to walk up a little bit close, and they are in range of a Leona ult, of Celery jumping in on them, or an Ash Arrow landing on them if Amanda's not on their game. So it is really important that they play out perfectly to get to that 25, 28 minute mark that we do not want to see coming out, or the side of Quantum Order.
At the current moment, it's a hard rotate up to this top lane. Mango just taking up the side. Huge haymaker. Give it a little bit of space, but that's a solar flare to come over. That's going to be a Zenith Blade not landing, but a good arrow lands onto the Braum, and that's the one that you may or may not want to catch, but it doesn't matter because you're pretty much paper mache. So Celery getting burned down by the Lightning Dragon themselves, but with that loss of their support, it means that this top side inhibitor tower will break. Same with the inhibitor itself. And the base has been cracked, with still about a minute left on Baron. So plenty of time to go get that Drake if you wish. Quantum Order slowly starting to win this game.
Yep, it's a slow chokehold of a game. You know, we want them to play fast. They're, you know, taking the slow road, making sure that they play it by the book. You know, they're opening up that textbook from League 101, how to close a game. That's how you do it. One inhibitor at a time, and making sure you control the neutral objectives. They did not control the first Grubs or the first Drag. That's okay. They weren't at their strongest yet. They were still ramping up, but once they got online, they have not let up. And you can see already, they're powering around this dragon, starting it up, the support, laying down these wards, making sure that Graves can't even get close. And then they're also doing the textbook work at the same time of pushing waves, making sure that they're set up for the next play that's going to happen right after the dragon that we see right now. So beautifully done. They're not playing, you know, one at a time. They're playing 2, 3, 4 steps ahead at a single time to make sure that they're prepped and ready to go, as this Baron does look like it has timed out now.
course, at this point, it is just that poke vein, exactly what they want to go for. Try and poke down the enemy, see what you can get. I mean, there's no global objectives, so I mean, really, what are you theoretically going to be aiming at? You control most of the lanes, you're just waiting for that top side to crash. It's got 2 super minions rolling in. So, with the current time, Ember Wolves going to try their best to hunker down. Where does that perfect engage come from?
They have to find a really nice Ornhorn with Jerry and Attack Dog and LostinEkkos comboing onto Sir Celery before they can get their ultimate off, because if Kindred gets their ult, they're not dying, nobody's dying, and they'll get refreshed and just run you over.
Well, I don't know if they're going to have a chance to do anything. You can see with the waves currently positioned, you can see the chunks of that tower going down. However, that's Mango taking one too many tower shots, and I don't think that's what they wanted. However, the rest of the team is slowly getting burned down. Yes, you killed one, but you're going to lose about 4. This is Ember Wolves being doused in water, doused in the flames of their own loss. Either it's water or fire that'll put you out here, and I don't think they're going to like it. Triple kill for Sir Celery, who will fall as well. And honestly, LostinEkkos has a chance to do something pretty funky here. That's a huge ultimate after getting feared away. Amanda comes in for the save, but the Haymaker is not enough to kill. LostinEkkos is able to save their life thanks to Amanda's will. Janto and Ziad ensure that the tower falls, and maybe they get the inhibitor as well. At the current moment, though, the base may be broken a little bit more, but seriously, well fought by Ember Wolves to at least stay alive.
Yeah, they're barely staying alive. I mean, it's on the fingertips of the ledge, right? Like, at any point, it can crumble if they misstep even a little bit. We saw they got the perfect fight for themselves onto Mango, getting that kill, and it still almost ended badly for him in a absolutely perfect scenario for them. So they're not going to get a fight like that every single time before this game ends. So any chance that they get to find a pick or anything, they need to take advantage of. And you just hope that for the side of Quantum Order, if you're Ember Wolves, that they don't have another play lined up on the other side of the map to take the map from you.
At the current moment, it looks like this is going to be a little bit of a Baron setup, and this one should be the one to kind of break open the rest of this game. Quantum Order had a very strong start in the early game. Closing out this game has been a little bit more difficult than they would have liked. But the Baron should change that one around. 10 seconds left. What the heck, and has TP so you can clear out the wave. Shouldn't be too much of a worry here. For Ember Wolves, it's an all or nothing moment. You're going to have Two-Shot Barrage up in a little bit. Sky's Descent should be available by the time it comes up. So what are you going to do? How are you going to deal with this? Or are you just going to let it pass you by?
I think if you're Ember Wolves, you can't contest this Baron, but you need to in a sense. Dragon's up in a minute 25. This Baron's going to be gone before you get the chance to. So it's all about finding the moment that you can fight and executing on it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this anymore. Like, it's not going to be a perfect fight no matter what you do, unless, you know, on the side of Quantum Order, they mess up somehow, like they did with Mango taking a few too many tower shots. But for Ember Wolves, they just need to force a fight and hope that you can find the picks that you need early before Sir Celery can ult, before Janto can get the pick that they need to stun the right member to get everybody else to collapse like dominoes. Good thing for you, though, if you're Ember Wolves, the inhibs respawn, so you have a little bit of time, even though the first one's about to fall again.
Worst time falls, and now you get to rotate towards the top side. What the heck, and still having a little bit of trouble pushing out this bottom lane. LostinEkkos has been doing a very good job of staying out of that territory, but there is that inhibitor falling. Yes, Janto is going to take a little bit of damage, but you're not too worried. Now it's 5 stack over to this bottom lane. Do it by the books, which I don't dislike. And you can take a look at how this is going to play out. This is just step number 1, because Dragon is going to be coming up. Granted, this is 3rd Drake for Quantum Order. It's not exactly the most mind-blowing of stats, considering this is also a Chemtech, but there's that TP that we were wondering about. Just hoping to save this cannon minion as much as possible.
Yeah, and while that was happening, Attack Dog threw out their ultimate, and it whiffed everybody, so you're really not going to have that either, as they are chunked to 35% of their health. And that doesn't feel good. As this cannon, it's the little cannon that could, as they're just finally able to chug it down with a little bit of help. But man, and Jerry, is just almost deleted by Sir Celery while all that's going down.
Oh, it's just so painful. Last inhibitor is going to fall. HP Gamer uses the Oran Horn as much as possible, but there is no forge that can host the fire that flames Quantum Order. They are cooking with the modern day technology. Sir Celery upgraded to a Lord the King, even if you will. However, LostinEkkos is able to get one kill. Ziad is still going to keep everyone safe, but the base is in shambles. Only one tower remains. Ember Wolves, though, they've been able to secure a couple more members on the HP bars, and because they can hit that fountain pretty quickly, Quantum Order actually has to leave.
Yeah, I mean, Ember Wolves, backs against the wall, they're playing this out beautifully.
Oh, geez.
Jerry, though.
Oh, my God. What a blast cone.
What?
Are you kidding me? What the heck? It sacrifices their life for the absolute glorious moment. You get one, maybe a little bit more, as Amanda gets feared out, and now you get to push, because that was the one. That was Jerry, the one that you had to worry about, and with that kill, you get to break the base. The blast cone is the MVP. HP Gamers is going to be stopped right in the middle. However, HP bars are still very, very strong. You got the last tower. Chuchapara is going to land. Ziad is taking a little bit low, but look at the burn. Look at the CC. Janto ensuring that the stuns and damage lands, and that will be the finisher. Crazy job at the end. The blast cone tech is real, and that will be Quantum Order to take game one.
What was that? Absolutely insane ending there, using that blast cone, pulling both the Ezreal and the Graves in, and using the haymaker. I'm flabbergasted. I've never thought about doing that. I played like a little bit of set just to learn how like the mechanics work. Never thought in my wildest dreams something like that. And then they sumoed over the wall to make sure they could continue it even more for the rest of the team. Insane play. Insane. No words.
Very, very heads up, and it can only work if you're on the Chemtech map as well. So thinking about those technical issues and technical prowess moments is what makes a great team. And Quantum Order for game number one seem to have that in the bag. Looking at game number two, do we get to see the same? Because I gotta ask you, these were a lot of comfort champions pretty much down the line outside of that Ashe, which Ashe is a comfort of any ADC at this point. Do we say that game was based on the draft, or do we think Quantum Order are just that good?
I think it could potentially be a little bit of both. This is only game one, so I don't want to, go off the rails and say, oh, it's so good. Like, I want to temper it a little bit. Maybe it was draft. Maybe they are just that good. There was a lot of comfort banned out from them already, so it shows that they have a deep champion pool to play with. I want to see what else they come up with. I don't think they're going to get that Kindred. I don't think they're going to get that set. Maybe not even Hui either. There's going to be some tough choices having to be made from Ember Wolves to make sure they don't go down 2-0 in this week and go 1-1 in the league right now.
We'll see what they can do. Right now, we're going to go to a short break. CTIL will be right back with the continuation of the series. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you in a bit.
Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Come on, everybody, bring it in.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. We're excited. We are into game number 2, and the players are ready to go as well. We appreciate everyone that was just kind of waiting around there. We appreciate y'all, but of course, Quantum Order are going to be on that blue side. Start off game number 2 here, and of course, Ember Wolves on the red side chose it after they lost last game. We are seeing some different bands come out here. The Zeri and the Milia are still on the table, and then the Viego, the Lilia, and the Echo are still on the side of Quantum Order. At the current moment, though, we are waiting to see if that third band is going to be that big shakeup. We have also gotten word that there is going to be a sub coming in here, but there's a Kindred that we were mentioning, Quantum Order, not going to be running that one.
Yeah, Kindred taken off the board. That's the big change. But Quantum Order, they want that Ashe, and I wouldn't be surprised for them to pick up that Leona once again. That is so crucial. It felt like it was a very good bot lane for them. I was doing some research in the downtime that we had, and they played it in Clash in all three games they had. So I mean, right there, it's a bunch of very comfortable to play that in Clash and go ahead and take that. And they played it the first game in Clash against this Ezreal, so you can see they have practice into this champion specifically, and they know what they need to do, and they executed on it really well last game. But for Ember Wolves, they decided that Zeri and Milia were too big of a threat, and that the Kindred was the major pain point from that last game. And if they get that off the board, Quantum Order won't have the same amount of effect as that they did in game 1, and they'll be able to make something happen in game 2 as they choose a very early Azir in that mid lane.
Keep in mind this is also pro draft, so that might be a little bit of a placement holder for the time being. We'll double check that, make sure we're good to go, and that is truly an Azir, as that I think that was like last second lock in. So if that is an Azir, that is a wild first pickup here. And it's very, very blind, very early on in the draft. Keep in mind, though, the York is still available if we do want to see the likes of what the heccin picked that one up. But there's the Leona. We knew it. And I think that's a call down of a Hui. So this was run last time as well. So 3/5 of the composition. Quantum Order ran last time. They're going to run it again.
And I'm happy. I think Hui and Azir is a perfectly fine matchup for Hui. You have to be a little bit worried about the Shurima shuffle, but overall, like, it's not a bad lane for you. And this Alistar pickup, I think the Braum is better. Into Leona, I've been known to not like Braum, but especially into Leona, I think Braum is a really good pick. But they're gonna go with that Alistar, looking for a little bit more engage, go forward, try to get into this backline of the Hui, of the Ashe, and of a potentially aggressive jungler coming out from Quantum Order and Jerry.
At the same time, Alistar is known as the premier destroy Leona style, so we'll see how it pans out. I can talk, don't worry. York, there's a band that we were wondering about. Don't want to let that one through, but now it's the hard focus on the top lane. Keep in mind, heccin destroyed that top lane. After the early fumble in the top side, it became pretty rough. Granted, there were some solo kills back and forth between him and HB Gamer, but it still led to the fact that the set was pretty dang strong. So One more target up there, I wouldn't be surprised about it. Ember Wolves just like, okay, what else can we throw towards the likes of Heck? And we just don't want to deal with that champion. We just want to leave them alone. And there's the Poppy denying any sort of engage denial tools, which against the likes of an Azir and an Alistar, I don't disagree with.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent pick takeaway there. On both sides, that Fiora is such a good split push potential that taking that away means that there's a little bit less power on this split coming out from Ember Wolves. Something that they tried to set up, it feels like, and just couldn't get it going with the composition. They had a little bit to go. Is they're gonna go for
Ooh.
Volibear that can go jungle, that can go top. So hiding their pick a little bit. I like this. But for Quantum Order, I don't think they're concerned with how last game went for them.
Mm-mm. They got 3/5 of the composition that they wanted. Now they can just kind of slot in a carry jungler. I think they're going to be more than happy about the current situation. Here's a big deal. Are you going to go for a straight counter pick in the top side and assume Volibear's top? Or are you going to play it a little bit safer and go for a more flexible top lane pickup? That's the big question that I think Quantum Order are asking themselves. Wukong locked in, it's understood. They're going just for straight DPS, which is the other side of it. I'm pretty sure Gangplank, if that's actually locked in, is a wild option against a Volibear. That is, you're farming till late. You can do some good work, but it can be a problem. So, are you going to actually lock it in? Is that going to be up there? No. This makes a little bit more sense. The set, once again, bring that on out.
Sorry, I have a fighter jet overhead. Hold on. I live, close enough that there are sometimes fighter jets, and I guess there was one just now, so that was fun. But I like the set. I think it's a good pickup. The Jax is an interesting one. I think it counters a lot of what Set wants to do, while at the same time giving you some really good split push potential and drawing some fight away from Quantum Order, especially if you just sick Jax on a side lane and say, go have fun, do whatever you want, don't mind the four of us unless we're losing limbs left, right, and center.
Hmm. I can sit behind it as well. Not only that, you get a lot more dual potential as well. Keep in mind the whole reason that we think, at least Ember Wolves assume that they lost the lane matchup or lost the game number one is because the Wukong got out of control, is because Jerry got in the face of just about everyone and took him to town, or Sir Celery did. So
For
you
Celery,
bring the
yeah.
Jax out, you get a counter strike, you go ahead, throw down a little bit more. Not only that, you have a good engage tool. One of the big deals I think previously is you got kind of run out of your own jungle. Let's be honest, it did not go well. So go ahead, have a little bit more leapability, and now you can fight with the best of them. I don't dislike it, but let's start number one. I want to mention this mid lane because Ziad and LostinEkkos had one of the larger disparities. Number one, because Ziad was able to get some roams off, get some farm inside of that mid lane. But do you think this blind pick Azir is the answer to that?
Azir is a lot weaker, I think, early than Aurelion Sol, so they're gonna get bullied. They have a little bit of a longer range with their soldiers to play around and to poke with. So they might have some possibilities there, but I still worry about how comfortable Ziad is on this way to pilot it so fluidly, so easily that into an Azir, like Hui likes this matchup because they don't really have to aggress into you. They're gonna have perma lane pressure until the Azir gets that first item, and with how Ziad was playing, there are gonna be leaps and bounds faster to that first item than this Azir will be.
Keep in mind, a large majority of Ember Wolves' early leveling also came from the fact that that was a tower dive top side for HP Gamer. That's the reason that the score actually looks so good in the beginning. And let's talk about that top side now, because we do have that beefy brawler once again. The set the Wukong are still going to have that same efficiency that we saw the Kindred have last game, but this time against a Volibear Jax. And granted, they're not as squishy, but they have a lot more damage to deal with. Do we see that type of top lane dive again in this matchup?
I don't think we'll see that much of a top lane dive coming out. I think Set's gonna have a little bit more difficult time against the Jax with that counter strike. But Wukong is an interesting pickup here. One, it can have that carry potential, but it has a lot more utility engage to go along with it, with that clone to get in close and that E to jump that last little distance you might need. And then once you hit that level 6, once you get that knock up, the world opens up to what you're able to do, especially against a pretty immobile composition built out from this Azir and from this Volibear. Like, if they get caught out and they're behind, it's not going to be pretty for them.
Mm. it's going to be a problem, and all of a sudden things could spiral out of control just like it did in game number 1. And then the bottom lane, of course, we got to talk about this one because big shift you were mentioning, the Braum last game seemed like it did some job, maybe not enough, and they opta swapped into the Alistar. And granted, Leona is considered the OP pick in the current patch meta. Is the Alistar going to do work? I know you mentioned the Braum being a little bit better in the safety, but maybe Ember Wolves don't want safety. They want the engage tool, right?
I mean, if you're gonna go for something like Alistar in that lane, pick something other than Ezreal, is my opinion. Ezreal's good, don't get me wrong, but they want to sit back and poke. They want to poke you down first before you go in, and Alistar can get poked out very easily. So for the side of Ember Wolves, it's a duality bot lane that they're gonna struggle with.
I could see
And
that.
yeah,
It's just you know, who's going to come out in the lead once again? This is the big question because I bring this to the forefront considering how roughly Quantum Order ran over the previous game. And these questions have to be answered because we do have to sit here and at the end of the day say, was that Quantum Order getting the perfect draft that they wanted? Or was it just them outskilling? And granted, they did say that, hey, Sir Celery did an immaculate job, which all of us could see. But was that a one-time thing? Was that just a simple misstep that everyone was kind of sitting on? Or are we going to see it reoccur again? After seeing this draft, I got to ask you, Ice, are we assuming that this is going to be the exact same as game number 1? You know, kind of that steamroll, maybe a little bit of a lull in the mid game and then a closeout? Or is this going to be a little bit closer for Ember Wolves?
I think they have the opportunity to make it closer. They made some good changes. I mean, they changed 4 out of the 5 picks. I wish that they would have changed out the Ezreal for something with a little bit more damage coming out, because again, they're lacking that early game damage to stand up to this Ashe and this Wukong and eventually this Way. Ezreal does have good damage when they get that first item and a half. But getting to that point, they're gonna struggle once again. I think they didn't have the explosive bot lane that's needed for an Ezreal to get over this Ashe Leona hump, who is one of the premier bot lanes right now, like you mentioned in the last draft. It's gonna be difficult for them. There's opportunities. There's always opportunities. We can talk about it all day long. It always comes out to how you execute on the Rift, but I don't think those are opportunities abound. It's gonna be tight, but I don't think Quantum Order has been outdrafted here.
Okay, I can sit behind that one, and I think for me, it is going to be the fact that Ember Wolves, I think, just need to play better on the day as well. I personally am in the camp that Quantum Order are just that good. That was, I mean, when you make a mistake like that in the top side, it leads a lot of question to the mental distraction. Hey, we dove, it didn't feel good, things went wrong. Hey, we got to back it up, you know, kind of thing. That didn't seem to phase them at all. It started snowballing from there. They have great mental, they have great abilities in the back pocket, and it seems they have really good coordination. My concern is if they get that lead again, I don't want to see them stall. I hate seeing stalling. I hate seeing that issue come out. And the fact that it ended about 27 minutes, a little bit telling. But we'll see what they can do. Now we get to ask you once again, because it was in the top side. It was a little bit in the top side. We mentioned that it was going to happen around the graves and stuff like that. But that wasn't exactly what we thought it was going to be. I want to know this time around for Ember Wolves, if you will, where do they get their extensive lead? Does it start because you mentioned that they do need to scale into the mid to late? They don't really have great early game. Where is the first skill going to come from? Where do they start snowballing from?
That's a hard one because all these lanes need pressure from Volibear to feel good and get themselves going. I would say Jax needs it the most, especially because it's into the set and we saw how good the set played last game. And we know how good this bot lane is. I just don't see this Ezreal Alistar getting ahead enough off of ganks to really make a difference. And this Wukong is gonna have, it's not gonna be tempoed as much by those kindred marks anymore, that you're kind of drug across the map because of them. It's a little bit easier for Wukong to kind of say, nah, I don't need my camps up in the top right now. I want to play around Dragon, because you're not feeling the pull of that mark up there anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see how Quantum Order play it. But for Ember Wolves, it's about getting Jax ahead, setting up your split push, and making sure your Ezreal and Azir don't get behind.
All right, well, we'll see what they can pull off right now. Quantum Order are looking to put another win on their belt in this series, and of course, get their first series win in the CTIL for Ember Wolves. They really don't want to go 1-1. They want to go ahead and get a 2-0 on themselves, and if they do, that'll mean going to a game 3 here in the series. Let's go ahead, get into game on the day, and let's see what they have to offer. As you can see, it's already going to be a pretty simple start. No worries about that one. Just go ahead and simply put themselves in a 5-point setup. Of course, Ziad just going ahead, getting that early mana flow ban like we talked about. It's just nice to have.
It is really nice to have, and for tracking Volibear, it's nice. I like that they tried to aggress as a team. Again, you had Ziad, you had Celery there, and LostinEkkos and Amanduh are pushing in to get this ward onto the Raptors, and it's going to be traded right back in terms of the ward placement. These are crucial wards for this early game. Tracking where these junglers are is going to be crucial. And it looks like we're going to get top to bottom clears for both of these junglers. And I think that's a good start for both of them. Wukong, they need a little bit more mana because they're a little bit more skill dependent. I mean, on this Volibear they are too, but it's a little bit easier for them. And then for this Wukong, they want to be throwing out a lot of Qs. They want to be cloning a lot, using their clone a lot to clear these camps fast. And the faster you're able to do that, the better. But I like this bot lane setup.
Okay. Yeah, nice little setup. Nice getting it in, and being annoying is what I like to always say. You got to be in their face. Of course, on the top side, this is Ajax's top side. Heccin, like you mentioned, not going to enjoy some of those early trades, and it's a difficult little mark to have. So we're going to see what the Heccin actually get pushed in, which in game number 1, I think they were the ones doing the pushing with some of the early exchanges. So let's see if that continues. Right now, though, full clears from these as junglers. And of course, though, meeting on the bot side of the map will be fun. At the current moment, though, level 2 being hit in SolitarySkill, the one that we mentioned stepping in here. We mentioned it before that there was a little bit of a swap. So we'll see if it actually does them any good, or SolitarySkill is only able to exert so much.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them. They're on a different style into this carry now, and they dropped half the CS of the first wave. They still got the XP, but they didn't get the gold, so that's something to keep in mind is, are they going to be able to continue the CS? It's a lot easier to CS on Ornn than it is something like the... Oh, hello.
Well, that's a good little jump in. You go ahead and get some extra damage down. Ziad, in their own right, in the early stages, I mean, Hui doesn't exactly output a crap ton of power, so that kind of makes sense. Good little shift in. LostinEkkos gets to recall, and now you get to be that bully. For a moment, though, everything else is net neutral. No one getting any riskier over it.
No, and I liked the play out of the bot lane. Leona roamed up, and because they stacked waves 1 and 2, crashed the third, it's bouncing back to them now. And with that, they are able to grab an early back and pick up that cull. So they're looking to just scale up and not do too much in this lane because that's all they need to do. They don't have to aggress into an Ezreal Alistar because they're going to outscale it on the rest of the map, or at least that's what they feel like. So Ziad aggressed on once again. That's a good fear coming out from Ziad to make sure that LostinEkkos can't get anything else out of that trade.
I think at this point, that's kind of your game plan, right? That's all you're really going to do. You're not worried about doing anything else. You're just kind of putting yourself in a nice spot and trying to farm up. Also, I'd like to point out, Mango went for that Cole, but that's going to be a slam against the wall. Good haymaker on the top side. It's also SolitarySkill is in a really dangerous spot. Popping that pot or that cookie as soon as possible. Danger is around the rip, but take a look at this. Amanda roaming into this mid lane. There is a flash on Ziad. You can do some work here. This is going to be a jump away, and you walk right into the Alistar. You flash, but I don't think you're getting away. Last slap on the back of the head means it's a kill. Disaster striking for Ziad.
Disaster striking for Ziad as they also burned their TP already, so they're going to have to walk back to this lane. And with how fast that LostinEkkos and Amanduh are pushing it, they're looking to deny CS. They're going to at least deny this cannon, if not at least one more minion, if not 2. A really, really good play coming out of this mid lane, and now getting this back off for the Azir. They're going to get a little bit more gold off as we're going to have a meeting of the top and jungles happening right now.
And honestly, this is a good start. We were talking about Ember Wolves getting something off, and this is Amanda hard roaming, not on that Braum, not having to hold hands in that bottom lane. Instead, getting to exert their pressure much earlier than I would say you can otherwise. Good knockup, though, is what the heccin is going to eat that damage. And it's a good punch out. Remember, you were talking about that spiciness of the junglers. Well, in a 3v2 situation, whereas Solitary is that one, Amanda's getting so much value.
Yeah. Amanda roaming massively, made a play in mid, made a play in top, backing now, is going to be down on XP because of that play. Just a little bit, they did make it up a little bit in that mid lane by picking up those minions, so maybe not as much as I'm thinking off the top of my head, but this Ezreal is going to be boosted because of that at least. So that is good for Attack Dog. And with Ezreal, this is one of the few ADCs that you can just like leave alone in lane. And they're pretty safe, Zeri being one of the other ones, because they can just dash around. They can, you know, jump away, dash over walls. It just doesn't matter. It's very hard to lock them down. And so you do have these opportunities coming out as Jerry is going to start up on these grubs. And I like this play coming out, getting these grubs early as they spawn.
Go ahead and hang on to it, of course. In the bottom side, we're seeing a little bit of a rundown. That's a flash forward. However, target focuses are a little bit difficult to watch here. Attack Dog and Amanda were both eating the brunt of the damage, and Mango's eating all of the shots. Last auto attack is going to go down, and that's a kill. However, it's a trade right back, and all of a sudden, Attack Dog is feeling much better about this exchange. It was a 1-for-1, but more can come instead. It's only that. Top side, of course, we saw Jerry get some of those grubs, but seeing a gank now into the mid lane. A little bit of a question mark for Jerry, though, saying, why is Ziad focusing on that side of the rift? We're seeing Celery now step out of the fog of war. A little bit of a hold, good, slow, and damage, but that's going to be the shove that you like. There's no flash, but that was only the clone. What a bait from Celery. Ziad is going to watch this as a flash out from Jerry, but the electricity finally kills, and now Jerry is going to get feared out. Electricity is going to come down, and the Volibear snaps some hole. That will be a bite for a double kill as JerryX nabs that mid lane.
Jerry coming in with the rage of 1,000 Thunder Bears, it feels like, getting that double kill. And they're gonna get Dragon off of that too. They're almost full health. Amanda's here. They have the Ezreal who backed and doesn't quite have as much pressure, but they have mid pressure as well. There is nothing that this Wukong can really do except farm it out. They know where Janto is, so realistically, this is Ember Wolves playing this early game as about as good as they can. I would not want to see anything really all that different. Yes, the Azir shuffle in was a little bit of a bait, and it was well played by Celery there, but they still got the double kill out of that. A little bit of an overstep there, and it's just, hello, Jax, putting in some work in the top side there.
Disaster striking just about everywhere for Quantum Order, and we were talking about it. This difference, this shift in mentality in this play style, it's going to feel interesting to watch for. This is going to be that big shift, 5-2 start here. And this is not by the making of Quantum Order tower diving and giving 2 kills over. This is 1v1 potential. This is strong arming your opponent. Ember Wolves starting off really, really well. SolitarySkill, of course, putting in work on the top side. 1-0 going for that Triforce.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you need to play as Jax, is be aggressive, be in the face of set, and continue to take advantageous trades. And it feels like last game was just a warm-up game, but Azir getting ganked right now and is in a world of hurt as Celery picks up that kill.
All right, well, we expected that a little bit, saying, hey, what's going to happen? And so far, it's just that simple little pickup for themselves. This mid lane, we're starting to see a little bit more power, but Ashe is, of course, in a little bit of a dangerous spot. This is a Mango getting run down here, and all of a sudden, you are dead. Pain in the back house. And that is Mango now 1 and 2 getting punished for running that Cole early.
Yeah, it was an aggressive picking up that call in terms of losing out on having a little bit of a stat stick item, having only that recurve bow now. Rough times in the bot lane. It's not the end of the world. Ashe isn't the damage dealer. They're not looking to carry as... I don't think you want to take that fight, Janto. Like...
Oh! That was a good trade. You were hoping to be able to manage, but very nice job on the True Shot Barrage, and Attack Dog is just like, dang. That's a freebie for me. Ziad now in that mid lane, trying to throw down a little bit of ult, trying to paint a good picture, but now running for their own life. That's going to be the showstopper to bring it in, and all of a sudden, it's LostinEkkos that is eating a large brunt of the pressure. Keep in mind, Ember Wolves are winning just about everywhere else, so it's only Ekkos that's feeling the pain.
I thought that was Sir Celery for a second. I was not expecting the set to be the one until I saw the throwdown happen. But we're gonna have a 2v3 potentially in this top side here as JerryX is gonna start it off.
I mean, JerryX is just chilling. You can see it. Jerry's just, hey, I'm going to hold out here. I know I'm pretty dang strong. I got 2 kills earlier. And really, the pressure and the need is currently inside of Quantum Order. They're the ones that are currently sitting behind. You know you're about 1,000 gold down, and I mean, you know you're not feeling too great. And for Sir Celery, it's like we got to find something. You're going to tap out a little bit of extra damage. And take a look at the mid lane, though. Ziad was able to get back in the lane, is now looking like the forefront to rotate over. And all of a sudden, Jerry might realize that you need to run. You got 4 grubs. You're safe. But that's going to be the fear. And now a possible death. You stepped up way too far. I'm not sure why you decided to do that. And now SolitarySkill is going to jump in, but a flash out means no Counter-Strike comes in. LostinEkkos is going to try and hold her own, but that's a fear. And now everyone jumps in. There's no Counter-Strike to help out. Disaster striking for the Ember Wolves. Their hunger got the better of them, and they lose 2.
In a huge play by Janto and Sir Celery, starting that off. And in the bot lane, or mid lane, it's been a trade of ADCs. Wow. It's... it was in the bot lane. I just saw support in the mid as well. It's just around the map we have action. It is just falling apart for Ember Wolves a little bit, as they did get 4 grubs, so they are going to get those spawns when they hit the tower, but SolitarySkill TPing in onto what the heccin, and no flash, no ultimate. This might just be what the heccin going down here, especially with Jerry. There's not much they're going to be able to do.
Oh, but you can show something, you bring him close, which means Sir Celery could try and do something, but no. It is that pickup now in the mid lane. LostinEkkos gets massive revenge on Ziad, and these trades are going so well. It was an attempted 2v2, but Sir Celery is now going to lose, and Ember Wolves are just bullying Quantum Order. The order has been thrown upside down, as that's a 4-0 net for the Wolves.
Yeah, that was a little bit confusing coming out from Sir Celery. There was no need to make a play like that. They were already backing away, and then you just brought them in. You have no support there from the rest of your squad, and you give over another kill. You're 3-2-1. You have that Sundered Sky. You're down in kill. You're not quite down in kills, but you're down in gold, because I mean, Volibear's been farming up a storm over you, and the Jax is there too. Like, there's just no way you get out of that if they engage on you. So very questionable plays coming out from Sir Celery. Just playing with like a little bit of, we beat you hard last game, so I mean, we'll just do the same this game, I guess. But for Ember Wolves, they're punching the mistakes that Quantum Order are making and forcing a lot of good plays as well at the same time. For SolitarySkill, they're 3-1-0. They're feeling good, and I worry about this set in these later stages because they're not going to like the feeling of that lamppost.
Not at all. You can even see the likes of Quantum Order saying, okay, how can we get this dragon? We want to at least get one on our own, and maybe we can get a little extra behind it. Ziad, of course, throwing a couple skills backwards, just trying to recall and get back in favor. But this pinch is actually really dangerous. You can see Janto just hiding out on the back end, gonna Hextech flash over the wall to stay safe, but that's gonna be a good cleanse. Arrow for cleanse. Mango will take that. And I will say, for what it is, this has been Quantum Order not shying away from a challenge, even though they are down in gold, even though they are in a dangerous spot. However, that double ultimate for Attack Dog, I'm not sure if that's the big way to play, because now you don't have those big ticket items for this upcoming Drake.
Yeah, losing out on that Leona ult is gonna be
really?
rough.
Really? I don't agree with that. Sir Celery smites away the blue buff, but transfers it right back. And all of a sudden, Ember Wolves get freedom.
This is the exact play you basically wanted as Ember Wolves. You got a kill onto Sir Celery, shut them down even more, and you get Hextech Dragon, which is a huge dragon, and it's going to be Infernal Soul. You only need 2 to get to that point. You're set up for success right now if you're Ember Wolves. There's still a long way to go. Quantum Order is not out of it, but they need to clean up their play if there's any chance they want to win this game. Ziad's been playing well, over-aggressing a few times, but overall I wouldn't complain about his play. Trying to bait out SolitarySkill and Jerry here a little bit maybe is, there's the input. Zenith Blade is going to miss, and that's going to be that. It's just they need to clean up this play that has just been super questionable coming out from the likes of Celery going hyper aggressive when it's unnecessary. That's 2 plays that they've been caught out like that for no reason. And now they're going to start up this Herald. This, I mean, could or could not go bad for them. It doesn't look like it's going to be challenged by Ember Wolves, which is a little surprising.
Quantum Order, I'm left scratching my head a little bit. Every so often, I see... I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but that was pretty funny. This is just excessive forcing, which granted is a good idea to go for. You just kind of fire away, you see what works, and you constantly look for fights. I don't disagree with it. If there's a point to cause chaos, this is the way to do it. You just fight, fight, fight. Something will stick eventually, and as long as you're the proactive one, you're going to have the advantage of fighting. However, at the current moment, you are down about, 2k, not the worst thing in the world considering the kill deficit. You're able to get Herald, you can break something out there, and Mango still pushing up on this bottom side, almost done with that coal, can start farming up even more afterwards. So, little pieces still in the pockets on either side, but Ember Wolves are just feeling that much better. However, on the bottom side here, Janto might be in some danger. Good flash away. Mango is going to kite away. And this Ash pick is going to get a lot of value, but you got to get the stun down, but you don't stun fast enough. And Jerry is going to get the slam. Mango is dead. And so is Janto. Good for you to come out here, but Ziad will only save the life of the support.
Yeah, Ash being aggressive isn't new. I'm a little caught off guard, considering how well last game went for Quantum Order. For them to now just be faltering so heavily is insane. That it's the dichotomy of the 2 sides of the coin. It feels like for Quantum Order is, if they don't get a head off of early picks, it feels like they just don't know how to play almost, as they're just over aggressing left, right, and center. And what is this TP coming out from Ziad?
Ziad is just kind of jumping into their own death. This is going to be the Cyclone to come out here, and it will hand a kill back over. But it's a 1-for-1. And I am so surprised at what's being thrown down here. It feels like Quantum Order are completely out of it right now.
And look at mid lane tower. It's not even a breath from going down, it feels like, as Leona has to hold this wave if they want any chance to save it, because it is at literally 30 HP. Like, you can't, I mean, yes, you can get closer, but I mean, realistically speaking, it's as low as it's gonna get, and all it needs is for LostinEkkos to just say, hey, I'm just gonna, say, I don't care, walk up, auto it, and it's over. Like, and that's first tower blood going to Ember Wolves off of a very questionable TP play, as doesn't actually get any gold off of it because he didn't hit it. That's something to be clapping about for Quantum Order, as they also lost top lane tower already. I missed that completely. And there's the first tower going down for Quantum Order in the top, grabbing that, but this isn't looking good for Amanduh.
I mean, this is, at this point, it's hide and seek. This is what Quantum Order are currently playing, and they're not doing very well at it. The wards are so obvious, and they give so much vision. SolitarySkill says, yo, this is mine, stay away, this is ours. You trade one back, but an ADC for support, you'll take that all day, every day. Ember Wolves starting to bare their fangs a little bit more, as that's the shuffle that you want to see. And you grab Ziad's life. In comes the bear to section everyone off. And Quantum Order drop 3. Ember Wolves gonna storm through this bottom lane.
Storm through this bottom lane and look like they're wanting to send us to a game 3 tonight. They came to play. They said last game was a warm-up game. We're not going to talk about that game, because this game, this is the one that matters. And just absolutely legend plays coming out from LostinEkkos on this Azir. Picking up Ziad there. They're going to get this 3rd dragon for themselves, and they have their marching orders to force a game 3, and they are working their way towards that right now in an absolute amazing fashion.
I am very impressed with this. I always mention talking about games where, if you're proactive, reactive, and everything like that, I sometimes don't like to watch teams win off of reactionary plays. Where they're winning off of an opponent making a lot of mistakes, and then you get a dub, because that doesn't show what a team can do. It shows you know how to react. It doesn't show that you can make plays on your own. Ember Wolves are making plays on their own. They are making an inferno right now, and all I want to see is if they can close it out. They have all the makings of a game finish, and at this point, they just got to press their gold lead. It is 4K, cresting on 5 now. And there ain't nothing to stop them. Attack Dog is saying, yo, maybe your Ashe was strong last time, but my Ezreal is much stronger this time. 2.5 items. And Amanda tanking everything up, saying, yo, I'm not even worried. That's going to be the arrow, though, landing on 1, but that is a stun on the back line. And there is Solitary to jump out of nowhere to gather in a storm. The absolute felling of the trees. Quantum Order thrown into the chaos, thrown into the deep end without a paddle, and they will be eliminated. They get 1, but they will lose all, as it is an ace for Ember Wolves.
That was a great fight for Ember Wolves. It looked like they may have over-aggressed just a little bit, but they got the TPs in. SolitarySkill coming in from the bottom and helping to close out the kill onto Mango means that they win the fight. They stop the Herald from doing even more damage to that mid lane turret so it doesn't go down, and they get Baron. I mean, huge swing in their favor now. It is 6,000 gold at 21 minutes. Not as big of a lead as Quantum Order had in game 1, but you're not going to scoff at that kind of lead whenever you're marching down to force a game 3. Right now, they need to crack the base open, though. That's the key to continuing this pressure. Dragon, 2 minutes, 57 seconds. Baron is yours. Start using it. It's the only way to continue this march. You don't want to let up. We know what Quantum Order can do if they get the opportunity. You don't want to let them get that opportunity.
Well, let's see if they can keep dragging out this game. And happening game number 1, and we were kind of sitting there worried about Quantum Order. This time around, they're on the receiving end, and who knows if they're going to be able to pull it out, but that's going to be a great arrow. Sometimes the catches are just going to be good, and you got the CC chain, and you get the kill. It goes to Celery, but that's a big one either way, and now you're going to look for a little bit more. Another cyclone to pop out here. Celery, though, just pushing Amanda off. However, there isn't much else to be had, and take a look at the warding vision as well. So Jerry just got caught out there. That just feels bad.
Yeah. And Attack Dog might be in a little bit of a bad spot. Is able to arcane shift away. But Ziad, that is an Azir with a lot of damage. I mean, that hurts. It hurts a lot, and Ziad, there's not much that they're able to do. They're gonna try to bait in LostinEkkos to make a play, so they can get Sir Celery in on it. But I think they're aware of it, as they're gonna just tower dive him.
I actually really like this call because you just got to do something, and you got the tank stats for it. You trade mid for support, easy all day long. Shut down, headed their way. It's a good pickup. It's a good one.
It is, but look in the mid lane. They're gonna lose mid lane tower for it. It's a reverse playbook of game 1, and for the side of Ember Wolves, this is exactly what you need to be doing.
Not only that, it's actually a lot worse because they have those voidlings. It takes towers so much quicker. Another arrow could come out here, though. Arrow was actually already used. I do apologize. And they don't lose the inhibitor tower. But this is going to be a little bit different.
Yep.
And actually, I double-checked the tape. It was actually going the way of Leona. So that shutdown, that easy damage, that free gold does not go the way of Ziad or Sir Celery. So little pieces here questioning what goes on Dragon up in about 45.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that it goes on to Leona, but you do take Azir off. They don't have that Baron buff to push that side lane anymore. And you got to clean up your waves if you're Quantum Order. Clean them up, make sure they're pushing away. Don't let them get close to any more of these inhibitor turrets because they're going to fall. They're going to get mid lane, though, so that's good that they're able to get some gold off the map, especially with that bounty being claimed. And they're going to get another pick potentially, as LostinEkkos has to flash away from Sir Celery.
I think that's a good flash, though, because now you get a fight around Sir Celery. Might be chunked out. You want to get another knockup if you can. But the backline is jumped on. Jerry brings the Skylord in. Good kill by Attack Dog as they are firing. They're nipping at the heels of just about everyone. The bite hurts so much more. SolitarySkill in the backline. The lamp bonks away. Janto followed their team to disaster. And it's Quantum Order to lose all of their lives. It is going to hurt so much, as Ziad is the only one alive, but the pain comes from losing the dragon as that's infernal soul to Ember Wolves. So fitting.
So, yeah, it really is. And SolitarySkill is looking for another kill onto Ziad. Flashes forward, grabs the stun, and just says, I don't need a weapon. I have a lamppost, and I am going to force you under your tower. Huge play there. And Azir's just going to go in for the cleanup here, it feels like.
I mean, that's a good flash away. Ziad gets a shield down and is able to stay alive. LostinEkkos now inside of the enemy territory, has to get safe. The arrow lands on someone else instead. However, LostinEkkos goes into the Zanya's Thorn, gets double stunned up. Punch on the backside as Mango gets a kill, and maybe Amanda is going to fall as well, but the side from the backside means that's a true shot barrage. I think that got the kill. So Ziad goes, crap, I died. That sucks. 2 for 1 though, and remember, Infernal Soul is up. If Ember Wolf somehow loses with this Infernal Soul, it'll feel so bad. However, they've gotten what they wanted. Those deaths feel a little bit meaningless. You don't get much out of those kills. LostinEkkos and Amanda, they did their job. They push in the base, and now comes that finale.
Yeah, they cracked the mid inhib. That's the start that they need. They need to now focus one of these side lanes and crack that inhib open as well, and start that march towards those Nexus turrets. Any time after this point, yes, you got Infernal Soul. It's now Elder Dragon. You need to have complete control over this game for any... Because, I mean, if Quantum Order get Elder Dragon, just because you have Infernal Soul doesn't mean that it's going to guarantee you Elder Dragon or a fight if, you know, Quantum Order do get Elder Dragon. They still have a lot of power. We've seen it. Celery pumping out that damage. Ziad can also do a lot. Mango is a slower burn of just chunking you out, as it's not going to be easy for them to close out this game if the Elder Dragon gets taken by Quantum Order. So they need to close it up, tighten the ship up, and make sure that they are ready to go for these next few fights, because they will determine if you are able to close out this game or if Quantum Order have a shot back in it.
No matter what, as long as you have everyone alive, you got a shot, even if that window of opportunity is less than 0.1%. You got a chance. Janto has been leading that forefront battle. You can see here, this is going to be the collapse. Ziad baiting everyone in. This is going to be the knockup. Arrow goes completely wide. Has a huge ultimate that is going to miss. However, now you get another one. SolitarySkill is taken quite low. How much more of a slam can you get? There's the punch. Ignite doesn't kill, and that means a slaughter is ensuing. Here comes the rest of the squad, though. Shuffle comes in and knocks Ziad right back into the enemy fray. And Ember Wolves punch their way to what could be another tower. Amanda misses the combo, though, and doesn't have extra damage, and Mango's able to free fire. This Ashe holding it down here, and quite honestly, the fact that it was 3 that died, not everyone, is a whole lot of difference. However, that jump back in, Celery getting antsy with it, not going to find any kills. No one died on Ember Wolves' side, as that's going to be Baron for the Wolves.
Baron for the Wolves in what was a very, very messy fight. The Infernal Soul putting in a lot of work there, especially because they were able to use their tanks to deal out a lot of damage too. Now they're going to flash forward. Celery is in a world of hurt, so is Mango. Everybody's trying to flash out of that, and it is just not going to be enough. As Mango goes down with that stun, Celery has to run into the safety of the tower, and everybody backs away. It's not fun at all, as they are... Yeah, they can grab this wave and just start pushing. They're at full health.
It's extremely weird, I think, to a lot of people, to see the team that is losing consistently try and make plays, but that's exactly what you have to do. Granted, the plays have not been working. It's been difficult. It's been terrible. And honestly, you just tried your best. However, they have extended this game for 5 minutes, which is about the same as what Quantum Order did, or what Ember Wolves did in game number 1. At this point, it's just repaying that favor. Inhibitor Tower is going to fall. One more inhibitor left standing after this one. And it's going to be the whole question of how much longer do you take? Ember Wolves, they're actually giving a lot of leniency over to the side of Quantum Order. Here from downtown lands on probably the tankiest member of the squad. You're not going to be able to follow it up. Elder Dragon will be up in 2 minutes, and that might be the play.
I think that's going to be the play for both of these squads. I think for Ember Wolves, they don't want to over-aggress into the base without having some extra sort of fighting power behind it. Yes, you have Infernal Soul. Yes, you feel stronger, but they saw how close that last fight was, that if they were able to pick up SolitarySkill, who's actually just soloing out What the Heccin right now, and What the Heccin has nothing that they're able to do with how close that last fight was. Not this 1v1, but the last fight that led to Baron. If if Solitary Skill falls there, I don't think it's as one-sided as it looks at that point. So they're a little bit nervous. They know that they probably should grab this Elder just to make sure it's a clean, easy closeout. The risk is, if it gets stolen, you can throw the game at that point.
I'm just chilling and waiting. That's what we're doing here. We are chilling and waiting to see what comes about, because for many of us, we assume this will be a game 3. For Ember Wolves, they still got to close it out. They still got to finish it up. And Quantum Order, ready to restore order at this point. If they can find the right pick, it can be a huge dub. Heccin now revived. Janto stepping up, looking for the Soul Flare, and they might have found a triple knockup into the kill. LostinEkkos barely gets that Zanya's off, and you're almost lost away, but a huge ultimate coming in from Ziad is able to load them down. Haymaker from the back end gets another, and you are going to find 3. However, your base is being overrun. SolitarySkill trying to keep him here. Attack Dog doing the same, and now they got to rush back. SolitarySkill's like, yo, y'all forgot about me. Y'all gave no quarter to me. Y'all have lost your towers. Y'all don't disrespect my name. SolitarySkill gonna do it to him. Nothing is left but their bodies, as this will be Ember Wolves to burn game 2 and bring us to a game number 3.
What? I mean, that was just a really good ending. You saw that Ember Wolves, they split the map. They forced a decision to be made, which is exactly what needs to be done. And it allowed SolitarySkill to just walk in for free, take the towers, take the Nexus, and there was nothing that Quantum Order could do. It was just really, really well played, and a good way to use the split push of that Jax to full effect. For Quantum Order, you demolish them in game 1. I wouldn't say it was a demolishing of game 2, but it was definitely a rough game 2 for you. Game 3, can you close out? That's the question. You look so good. What tools... That Kindred, I don't think was the entire piece of it. That wasn't the sole reason why they won. But after looking at this game 2, where they got 4 of the 5 pieces back, and it didn't look nearly as good, what do you change?
I mean, there's so many questions on the table, and that's what the team has to figure out. Let's go ahead and go to a short break, and we'll see who comes out on top. Will Ember Wolves be able to secure their 2-0 start to the season, or will Quantum Order put that to rest and put their first series win on the board? Don't go anywhere. The Crunch Time Infinity League will be right back. And we are back, ready for game number 2 or 3. And I lied, it is game number 3 because game number 2 was a barn burner. Right now, we're getting into the game. Ember Wolves back on blue. We have the Milio, the Kindred, and the Zeri all banned away. Quantum Order, of course, banning away the Echo, the Lilia, and that Viego. And right now, the big pickup is Ember Wolves still sticking with that Ezreal with the Ashe currently on the table. Here's the deal: you can't really give the Ashe over. You can't give double ADCs over to the side that wants it. And there's the Leona Ashe once again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, especially into what they've been playing. I wouldn't be surprised for an Alistar to come out here. It did really well. Amanda played amazing on the pick, got some great early roams off, allowed the Ezreal just sit back. They don't need to make plays in that bot lane. They don't need to overextend, farm it out with the Q. And there it is. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, that's just a good matchup for the bot lane of Ember Wolves, and allowing Amanda to roam, to make those plays in the mid, in the top, early. I mean, that's where their success came from. A little bit different of a look there in that mid/jungle, picking up that Talia.
I think that one's actually a LostinEkkos special coming in here. You have to fall back, and you can't blind pick the Azir this time around. So you can't allow it. The Yorick, though, this is the big point, because SolitarySkill came in, dropped an absolute baller of a game, and then I think they're playing in this game 3. That can be the big change up here. I think that can be the big change up. So Yorick being locked in blind, and now you just double ban out that top lane, and there's the way. So we will see Ziad on something completely new. This is going to be a spicy game 3.
I like the Yorick pick. It's a comfort pick for SolitarySkill in that top lane. It's his most played, and I think Quantum Order played really well with split push. We saw it in game 1. They were able to stretch that map. They played it really well. Yorick is the best at that, it feels like, at times, especially when they're in meta. And right now, they are really good at it. But Ember Wolves, we have to see what they draft to complete their composition. Yorick is not an easy one, and it's going to be Brand Jungle coming out from Quantum Order. That is an aggressive top side of the map if I've ever seen one.
Not just that, you're hoping to match that to Leah if it does try to flex inside of the jungle role. I don't think it is, though, so that's just kind of that piece of the puzzle that we get to sit here for. This is going to be that big challenge. And I mean, LostinEkkos, I mean, you're more than happy to sit there and see a pretty immobile composition down the lane. It means that your Weaver's Wall is going to get a whole lot of value. You're going to really, really enjoy that one. There's a Jax that we assumed was coming in here because SolitarySkill played so well on that champion in game number 2. So this is kind of all the question raises. Are you going to go for an aggressive and try and fight that brand inside of the jungle? Or is Jerry going to try and slow things down? You have a lot of hard carries, and you say you need a bit more magic damage. The Karthus can bring in a lot of punch. It's one of those secondary APs behind that Lilia.
Yeah, I don't mind the Karthus pick here. It has the second fastest clear rate out of all the junglers, only losing out to the Zyra now. And for Brand in the jungle, It's a farm fest now for this Karthus, and Brand likes to be aggressive, likes to fight early, wants to get ahead, and Karthus doesn't give that to you. So now this Brand has to go hunting for ganks that aren't the easiest to come by, and if Brand gets engaged upon, they kind of just get blown up early. So they need to find something as... That's a throwback that you don't see too often anymore. That's going to be Lucian in the mid lane.
So this is another special. This is something that I'm fairly certain Ziad has on record of playing. Has played Lucian mid a few times. It can bully. It can be an annoyance. And I don't dislike it. If you're gonna try and fight a Talia, which we already know that that both mid laners are more than willing to try and duel out if their champions allow, this now gives you priority over that lane matchup. Now, granted, how much priority is a whole different question. I mean, you're talking about the turn stones, and all of a sudden things can go wrong for the Lucian. But if you're able to predict, if you're able to get ahead of it, all of a sudden that Talia is now that focal point. And remember how heavy Ziad and the rest of Quantum Order focused Echoes in that game too. That was not a fun time.
No, and Echoes played it out beautifully to make sure they were able to stay alive on that Azir and get kills at the same time. So for Ziad, Lucian's an aggressive pick. It's I mean, it's from 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was really the last popular mid laner, before the Tristanas, before the Ezreals of the mid lane. Lucian was that premier mid lane AD champion when you wanted to pick an ADC, and it was one that had to get ahead early. If it didn't get ahead, if it didn't get those kills, if it didn't get snowballing, it fell behind really bad. And it feels like it's in the same situation once again. It needs to get ahead. The entire team is predicated on being ahead and slapping Ember Wolves with their wallet. They don't have a true tank. They don't have really all that much engaged. Yeah, Leona's a little bit, but not enough compared to what Ember Wolves have on their side with the Jax, with the Talia, with the Alistar. There's just so much that Quantum Order have to get right that we know they can get right. We saw them in game 1 absolutely demolish Ember Wolves, but it's another game where if they don't get it right, it will fall apart and fall apart fast.
And I mean, that's just... I don't want to say it's doomed because we saw what they can do. They can fight hard, and I know people in chat were saying, yo, Quantum Order play best when they're under pressure. I mean, you're under pressure now, but you made it a little bit harder for yourself. So I will follow behind that one. Quantum Order need to get ahead if they want to be the big game changers. For Ember Wolves, though, this composition lacks a little bit of resiliency in terms of that early game aggression. One of the reasons that she had control over
We're going to take a quick break as we handle some tech issues happening on our end. When we come back, we're going to be here with Game 3 between Ember Wolves and Quantum Order. Don't touch those browsers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And off we go. We are here. My mic is back. My camera is, we won't talk about my camera, but at least my mic works. We're getting into game number 3, the finale of the series. And SolitarySkill back on that Jax in the top side will hopefully be giving us a taste of what for. But the JerryX, the Lucian, and the Brand, 3 brand new champions, at least on our screens, but no stranger to Quantum Order.
No, and they're 3 very aggressive styles of champions. One thing that What the Heccin is now piloting is this JerryX that is one that scales really well the later the game gets. So Jax has to get ahead early, has to start demolishing these turrets so that whenever the time comes for What the Heccin to start going on their rampage, they're set up and ready for it, and they can bring the rest of the team over and say, you don't get a shot at doing anything like that. But Sir Celery and Ziad, they're going to have something to say about it, as Brand is very good into this composition that's been drafted as long as they don't get engaged upon. But SolitarySkill's just not worried. He's going to go fishing instead.
I mean, you got to get gold, right? You get
Yeah.
1 or 2 gold each time. It's a buff. You like it. You like it. Let's see if you catch any fish. Solitary. I mean, it's a good time. It's calm.
I think he's got 2 so far. I think this is what his 3rd.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what matters. That's going to be the
100%.
difference maker right now. 100%. Getting first item because of that one, calling it now.
That's a wild piece if that's actually true. Right now, though, we are set to go in this matchup with junglers starting on opposite sides. And surprisingly enough, they don't start the blue buff, which is always kind of funny to see. Instead, it is going to be that red buff start. A little bit of a burn and smite on the side of Sir Celery. So we'll see how far they can make their way around the jungle.
I'm surprised that neither of these junglers choosing to not play Zyra, instead going for the Brand and the Karthus, as Zyra is like one of those premier AP junglers right now that offer just a little bit more wave clear. They have a faster clear, so they have the fastest clear time in the game at 250. Karthus comes in at about 310 right now at the fastest. Brand comes in at about 312, 313. So very interesting moments there to not pick the Zyra, instead going for the, I guess, a little bit more tried and true. In the Brand and the Karthus, they've been around longer in the jungle, even though Zyra is just so oppressive. But, I mean, back to normal in the bot lane here. We have the Ezreal, we have the Alistar, Ashe, Leona. We know what happens here. We know how it can go for either side. It's all dependent on who wants to make that move.
To make that first move will be very, very important. Looking like the dashes are good. That's a shove in, though. Ziad might not be enjoying this. Of course, there is LostinEkkos. Both mid laners going quite low. Keep in mind, though, one of the big things that I'm watching for is seeing if Amanda can actually roam. That's a flash out, though. Flash forward. And Ziad! You know what? Salute. Huge salute. Ziad went for the gold and got last place. But you know what? Kudos.
You gotta try. You forced him out of lane. Like, I like the aggressiveness coming out, especially on a Lucian. You need to be aggressive like that. But you forced them out of lane, and they weren't going to really be able to farm, because anytime they step up, that's when you flash Q auto them and they're dead. But you already forced the flash out, so I don't know why you needed to aggress that far when they were outside of your auto attack range. You need to flash if you're going to make any kind of play like that. But in the top lane now, we have What the Heccin into a gank. SolitarySkill is quite low, though.
I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have Maiden right now, so What the Heccin just doesn't get enough, and Jerry is going to pick that one up. So, pre-level 6, What the Heccin is not going to enjoy this one. Sir Celery and Janto, though, finding Amanda inside of this at their own side jungle, and that's going to be a nice little stun up. Good pulverization, as Amanda is going to eat a large chunk. Janto is going to be shot over the wall, though, and that's actually a problem, as now you're pretty much going to go down. You are run down and burned, finished off. Sir Celery enjoys that one. So plays being made across the rift right now.
We might have a meeting of junglers at the same time, but Lucian gets thrown back by LostinEkkos. This is going to take about a little bit of their health, as Sir Celery's in a bit of a pickle here. Has to flash over the wall and try to pick up the last of the Krugs as well. A little bit aggressive coming out from the Brand there, knowing that the recall had come through from Karthus. Is we're just going to
wow. Wow, that is rude.
That is aggressive. That is a team
No.
who came
It's
to win.
not just aggressive. Get it right. That's rude. Ekkos was on the receiving end of like 4 ganks in game 2.
I mean, yeah, but if you want Ziad ahead, that's what you got to do, especially into a Talia like that. That's It's rude, but it's necessary if it's coming out from Quantum Order, as they're like, we came to win. It's when you get into solo queue and one of your players starts complaining that they keep getting ganked or they can't get 1v1s, and it's like,
Right.
on the other side, it's like, it's a team game. It's a team game.
Yep.
That's what that call is right there. As four-man blast of the mid lane there means that, I mean, LostinEkkos was gonna go down. Ziad picking up that kill brings it back a little bit more even, does have that gold advantage as well, but they're gonna return the favor in the top side and not give what the heck in a chance. As Amanduh's up here, Talia's roaming as well with the jungler, with Jerry. This is not gonna be fun.
But it's only level 5, so they can't actually do it, and they're actually waiting for SolitarySkill to let the wave crash out, and instead you go for these grubs. Now it is on top of ward, so Jerry and LostinEkkos both noticed.
Ooh.
That's gonna be okay. However, Ziad is coming over this wall and ready to go for that stun. They do find it on LostinEkkos. The shove only gets 1 though, as that's gonna be a massive culling. Level 6 versus level 5, baby. Now we're gonna get a firefight. Celery running away. But look at this dance here. SolitarySkill just really wants this kill, but you might sacrifice the rest of your team as well. Janto might get another stun down, but you don't. And instead, you're fighting on top of Jerry's clone. And with the wall going down here, top lane is the one that really remains in a dire strait, as there's no maiden to play for. There actually is, I forgot. That's going to be a little bit of a round. You're gaming, baby. We talked about it early, first blood on what the heck, and it doesn't matter because the maiden screams.
The kitty cat screams, it feels like, as it's Meowrick on the rift right now, and they found the kitty food, they ate, and they are feeling good. And that's a lot of damage considering they only have a Doran Shield and Longsword. That's like a scary amount of damage. Has anybody checked the Yorick numbers recently from Riot? Because I think they need a nerf. This is insane what they can do. Absolutely insane work.
Painful to watch here. This is gonna be dangerous. A little bit of a tag. Good over the wall damage. However, the grubs were taken. You got 2, so Jerry only needs 2 on the next round to really work with. So at the current moment, this is going to be a little bit of a slow setup, because I say slow because Quantum Order, you're only 1 kill ahead. You're not drastically ahead. We're still waiting for bot lane to really break out in Song and Dance as well. But for Ember Wolves, you want to try and get pressure back and get control so Jerry can start farming up those Dark Harvests.
You say you want the bot lane to start dancing and stuff. Leona's been a part of 4 of the 5 kills, which is insane to think about, considering it's just been quiet. Like, it hasn't really, they're only level 4, and considering that they don't have their ultimate, that's impressive to get 4 assists already, because typically you don't see those start to stack up until you get your ultimate. And now we're going to see them going for this dragon, potentially Leona walking up. Ziad needing to grab a little bit more control over mid lane. I like what they're doing, though, by freezing it here. They have a really good setup, and it means that LostinEkkos has to always be overextending in the wave to have any sort of lane pressure, because at any moment Ziad can just push it out. But in the bot lane, they're not gonna go for this dragon just yet, which is a little interesting, considering they have the timing for it with the Ashe coming back and the Lucian now pushing the wave. But I guess they're just looking to grab a little bit more pressure on it, as LostinEkkos is in a bit of a pickle here. Flash forward, and he's just dead.
You know what? Ziad, you'll take that all day long. You might even live, but no, there's a final Skittle. That was nasty work. Your death will not be in vain, though, as this is going to be the bloody end to the brawl. Mango picks up a little bit of B flank, and that's going to be Dragon for Celery.
And that was an aggressive play that set up this. I mean, I love it coming out of Ziad. He's 4-2-1, has a 13 CS lead, and is scaling well towards his first item. And there is not much that this Talia can do. This is exactly the concern that I had about this matchup, is Lucian had to get ahead, and they're getting ahead. Yes, they gave up that first blood in a little bit of a crazy fashion, but after that, it's been nothing but absolute domination coming out of this mid lane after that 4-person dive, and now it is not going to be easy for this Talia. And in the top side, Yorick's just doing Yorick things, already taking 2 plates, almost taking the 3rd as well. It's starting to crumble on the side of Ember Wolves, and we said that Quantum Order had to get everything right, and so far, they are.
A little bit of an ultimate coming in as Jerry is able to find a kill on the mid lane. Ziad went in for another trade, but LostinEkkos was able to stay alive, and that's something that we really had to watch for. Now on the bottom side, we're seeing a little bit of a shift as Amanda is going to be chunked out here. So with that Requiem, Jerry is now on the board of their own. A little bit of a fall through because keep in mind, no arrow to help out and no solar flare to keep everyone off means that this could be a very, very easy kill. There's an arrow. Actually, I lied, so it wasn't used in the previous fight, and Janto able to get a stun before flashing away. Bot lane is safe from Quantum Order. However, they're playing at a pretty breakneck pace. The dance is on now.
The dance is on, and the game is afoot. Put on your tap shoes, whatever, you know, put on your detective's hat, whatever you want to do. It is nothing but fight, fight, fight here as Attack Dog has to insta-cleanse that solar flare.
I don't think you like that, but this is a jump forward, and now the bounce is good. Amanda, you can't do anything even with that Unbreakable Will because the damage still goes through. And we're seeing these fights every time someone steps up. You have to realize you're going to pay the ultimate price.
Yeah, you're going to pay the ultimate price, and on the side of Ember Wolves, they're playing it out as best they can, right? Like, if you have a mid laner that likes to roam, keep forcing the waves, keep pressuring them, but LostinEkkos, I don't think this is where you actually want to be.
Janto realizing that one pretty harshly. Jerry with a nice pebble under their feet. And all of a sudden, I can't really tell who's going to come out in the lead because with this over-aggression, it feels like the Scaling's comp has actually gone a lot more. Jerry, 4-0-2 now. This Dark Harvest Karthus that you were mentioning has such a good clear rate and has extra value is now getting everything from Ember Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you want for your Karthus. You need them to get ahead, and that's an aggressive look from Ziad, but it's one that's you're going to play around with. You have your brand there. Amanda gonna headbutt pull in, but that is aggressive.
I mean, it's necessary because everyone's just kind of dueling, and that's actually what everyone wants to like. Arrow from across the board, but Jerry just still takes a kill. And honestly, this is falling out of favor for Quantum Order. Solar Flare does land, but the stones actually help. LostinEkkos was able to throw down the stones at the last second. Got the stun, no follow through damage. Janto was gonna try and make the best out of that situation, but it doesn't matter. LostinEkkos gets 2.
I'm speechless. Like, Sir Celery didn't get a chance in that fight to really do anything after stunning up Amanda, and they re-aggressed it thinking they could win, and now it is going to be up to this York. They're not going to have the grubs as 5 are going to be taken on the side of Ember Wolves, and York's going to have to really play the difference maker in this game. It doesn't matter what the rest of the team does at this point because they feel like they're behind. They're not winning out on these fights anymore, and York has to be the one to carry this team until the late game when they can come back online and start to deal out more damage. Sir Celery just isn't in a position anymore to dish out what they need to because the positions aren't being given over to this brand in the way that they need to. Jerry has a much easier time considering that all they have to do is cast that Requiem, and they're going to at least get an assist if a kill goes down. For Brand, they have to be up front and center for their damage to go through. It's not going to be easy for them from here on out. But next dragon, 44 seconds. It's going to be that Hex Tech, and I don't know if Quantum Order should be fighting for it. It could turn the game fully away from them at that point if they aren't careful.
That's why they're kind of stepping away. They're not giving value, or they're not giving value with their lives to this dragon. It will go down one way or another. I mean, you really, really do enjoy it. Of course, take a look on the other side. Ziad trying to roam around. Take a look at where everyone's deciding to go and just trying to get some information for the rest of the team. That's the big one. Janto as well, trying to roam out, but no one else is really in the vicinity, so you're not even going to try and step up for this one. Dragon number 2 goes the way of Ember Wolves, so it's going to be 1-1. The Soul is going to be the big one to play for, as that in game number 2 was a big deciding factor. It was infernal for that Soul, one that I rarely get to see. This time around, it's going to be the Cloud, so a lot speedier members. Arrow from downtown lands, though. Maybe they can step up a little bit further, and yes, they get the CC down. They kill him real quick. But Jerry still has that damage. Requiem going to come in and do a whole lot of damage. Mango eaten up, but on the far side, Ziad's going to try and do some work. No mana to work with, but the autos do enough. And the TPM behind brings 4 to death, as that will be very close to a wipe for Quantum Order.
That does mean, though, that Ember Wolves are going to get first tower. SolitarySkill sitting up there on that
that's a bad
Jax.
TP, I think.
Yeah, that's not going to work out.
That's a really bad CP. Oh, I don't think you like that. Oh, I don't think you like that, Ziad. Ziad, you got to dash away, but there's a jump, and SolitarySkill says thanks to the double buffs.
Yeah, that is not the TP that you want. LostinEkkos going to jump into this mid lane, and you're fine with LostinEkkos doing that because they're not going to lose the tower. And for what the heck, and they're taken very low. They do get the kill, though.
Jeez.
Flash Headbutt Pulverize. Don't think that's the way you want to go with that, Amanda.
No, I mean, the maid is doing so much work, by the way. What the heckin'? The
Yeah.
only reason you're surviving half of this is because of the maiden just being annoying. And this has devolved into solo queue. I want to point this out. Game 2 was the start. This is solo queue. There are plays on the map, none of them connecting at all. This is hunt, kill, steal from your opponent, and once an opportunity arises, maybe we'll grab an objective.
It's a solo queue on voice comms. That's what we'll call this. Because they're at least on voice comms, which is when I did play. Most of my games were not on voice comms, unfortunately, which would have made it a little bit easier. But it's really devolving into some interesting plays happening. As Ziad, yes, you have range, and yes, you have your teammate. Maybe this works out in your favor now.
That looked like Dota 2 with how much CC went down. That was, I'm pretty sure, a good 3 seconds because Counter-Strike was up. This is why Merc Treads is so important, guys. Get your Merc Treads. It's only like $800. It's going to be about 900 come next patch, though, so get it while it's hot.
And I think they're also nerfing how much it does, too, so...
yeah, tenacity goes down, too. It's wild.
It's basically going to be the boots patch, I think is what it's going to be nicknamed, because of just every single boot is getting touched. It's all getting nerfed, at least on the defensive half of the boots. Mango, you're in a bit of a pickle there. What the Heckin' though is coming around, and honestly, I think that's a good flank there coming out from What the Heckin'.
It's an easy one. You don't have to do anything else. Mango is, of course, going to go down here, and you pay respects to your life because the rest of the team is going to try and clean up here. But of course, you get one, and that's all you really need, and now you can push a tower.
Yeah, and Ezreal's not in the greatest position either. If they step up too far, Janto's just going to kill them with Ziad on the back there. So that's 2 towers. You'll pay for that. You got a kill and a tower for the death of your ADC. You'll take that. And it's really not your true ADC, right? Like, Lucian's really the ADC that you have to worry about not dying to make sure that they can play carry. Ashe is just there's the supportive, like, I throw my arrow. I do a little bit of damage. I make sure my teammates know where everybody of the enemy is with my hawk shots. Because that's what Ashe does. But for SolitarySkill, it's all about pushing waves. All about pushing waves, taking towers, and taking names. That's what they want to do. That's what they're doing. And they're doing it decently well. They just need to keep up this pressure without dying.
I think they can do that more than once. Honestly, it's not really just pushing and taking names. It's pushing so York doesn't get a push. You cannot allow What the Heckin' to get a push off and set up a lane, because if you do, things go awry. So that's what we're watching for here. Dragon up in about 1:10. You can already see a lot of the bodies collapsing around that lane. And that's going to be the one to play for. Jerry out in the open, though, walking over a ward. If a stray arrow gets fired, things can go wrong very quickly. At the current moment, though, Ember Wolves just positioning everyone as Janto is actually going to get a little bit routed, but that pink ward is going to do more than enough to deter them.
Yeah, Sir Celery there. Actually, I think they were trying to bait in Jerry to go just that little bit farther so they could pick up that kill. Not quite taking the bait means that Janto gets to walk away without losing any health, and so does the Ember Wolves. And then they got bot lane push, which is good for this dragon. They get a little bit more wards down. Yorick is going to be matching topside, but they have TP, so it doesn't really matter from both of these top laners. It's all about who can get there first, what plays are made to force around, and what towers are going to get taken for this dragon, because that's really going to be the trade. Is if one team gets full control over this dragon pit, the other team has to take a tower, otherwise you're just losing out in the trade.
It's a painful one to think about, but right now they're going to have to do their best. Waiting around here, quick tag on the dragon. Herald is going to be spawned on the bot side. That's going to be the one to play for here. If you can go ahead and get 2 birds with 1 stone, it's going to be a pretty nice pickup here. LostinEkkos is also on a little bit of a rough end, realizing that they're probably not going to want to be here. So they go ahead and step back. Herald, I don't think, is going to get a second charge, but you got the dragon, and that's all you can really ask for. A couple more questions to wonder about, though. Ember Wolves, where do you want to go from here? You can see the Baron pings going down. Maybe it's because they want to try and force it. However, knocking against the wall means their Celery can dish out some damage as well.
Yeah, and Ziad getting a good culling there. The battle lines have been drawn. Zoomblade barely misses Jerry. If Jerry gets caught there, they're just dead. The arrow not available, luckily, for the side of Ember Wolves. Otherwise, I think Jerry is just dead there. But because of the over-aggression trying to get that mid lane turret, because they took too long, means that they have to use Weaver's Wall just as a defensive tool to make sure that they don't lose their mid lane tier 2.
And it hurts because now you're getting dragged at the pace of Quantum Order, and this actually works in favor of what the heccin. Keep and watch where what the heccin goes, and what you're hoping to do is draw a TP out of LostinEkkos or SolitarySkill. If you can draw one of the TPs out, that now means you collectively shut down one of the lanes that they get to play for the next objectives. It's all about trying to get these little pieces of the pie and work your way forward. Current moment, though, we are looking at this Baron. Take a look at the wards. Jerry has a pink ward inside of the pit, trying to go for that scuttle. Is able to pick it up, no worries, but spots every other ward out there. So Quantum Order now realizing they, in their own right, are in a little bit of a tough position. How do you get around? How do you get to these opponents as Ember Wolves are able to take this mid lane tower and just kind of softly back away?
Yeah, I think that was a good macro play with the rotations coming out from Ember Wolves to get that mid lane tower, but SolitarySkill's in a bit of a pickle with 2 there. I like this aggressive Baron call because the 2 there, you're forcing the TP out of the Talia. Jax, it cannot win in that 1v1 right now, so you've won out on that trade. Now, it does reset.
Oh, I like this call. You go for that Requiem, you drop them all low, and SolitarySkill can clean it up. But that's going to be a great flash in, and a kill on the back end. The Baron might be their downside, and it is. Quantum Order. Janto has to flash away, a burn on the back end against the Talia. But the other side of it is you lost a few, but look at the bot lane. Guess who's still there trying to farm up? And all of a sudden, Ember Wolves are forced to take Baron because Heckin's going to get a tower.
Yeah, Heccin gets tower, and look how, I mean, it's not going down fast either. Heccin could almost get 2 towers if they're able to get enough damage off, and if that wave can arrive in time. They're having to send Ezreal back already, which just slows down the Baron even more. It is not an easy time as it just now goes down, not leaving the maiden, so they get 1 tower for Baron. I think that's really good if you're what the heck in there, as you now get to deny resources in that jungle as well before backing away.
Oh, man. This is turning into an extremely spicy game. This game is on a game of inches. I mean, the knife is sharpened, and both teams are walking that tightrope. It's going to be a problem. What the heck, and though, separated from the maiden. However, with the blast cone, is able to get to a little bit of safety, relatively, I should say. Janto trying to run interference, but LostinEkkos realizes they're in a little bit of trouble. 1v1 does not go their way. And they have to wander away from this one. Dangerous stuff on either end.
Call an ambulance.
Wait, Ziad? Ziad? Ziad 1v1? SolitarySkill? Bro.
Call an ambulance, but not for me. Ziad says, yeah, I lost the last one, but okay. And
that was an arrow! That was a blind arrow you fire and hit! What are these kills coming around the map? Now Mango is in a position to actually get another one. Flashing away from the knockout means Attack Dog won't be able to really get over the wall. You get that bounce, but it's not enough as the Pyroclasm joins you in. Quantum Order throw chaos in the wind, build a new order on their own, and all of a sudden they are running rampant with 3 errant kills around the map. Make it 4!
Ouch.
That's an ace. That's an ace, a delayed, if you will, because SolitarySkill is up. But out of nowhere, Ember Wolves collapse.
Yeah, all I have to say is ouch. Ember Wolves just fell apart. And for Quantum Order, you're saying thank you very much. We're just gonna continue on with our Yorick, as Yorick's low, and now that the Maiden's going down, I don't think they win the 1v1, but like, with the Maiden up, they might win that 1v1 versus Ekkos, even with how low of health they are. Dragon spawning in 5 seconds, they're not even gonna be able to contest this on the side of Emberwolves because the backs have a little bit come through for Quantum Order, and they are strong now. Leandri's Rylai's on this brand, building up ever so more. Yorick has that Titanic Hydra, has that Sterex Gauge, has that Black Cleaver. There is nobody that can stop him at this point. You need at least 2, if not 3 of your members on the side of Emberwolves to stop this man from being able to take your turrets. And the chances that you had and that you have now are just becoming that much slimmer as it's just falling apart.
There is no plan. There is nothing left. There is only damage and death. That is what we're watching for, as that's an arrow from downtown missing after what the heck and flashes. Taktok goes over the wall to try and ensure that you're a little bit safe. Good stun. Now LostinEkkos is stuck. You have no way out as you are to Leah on the other side. SolitarySkill gonna get burned, gonna get punched, gonna get drained of their HP, but not before they take one more with them. Attack Dog is able to bite one more before death, but Jerry can't run away. You're flashed, but you're slowed. And remember, when Mango tags you, this Ash will chase you to the absolute ends of the earth. A final volley doesn't land, so you are gonna be safe, but there's Celery rushing to try and chase because you can get this mid lane for free if you wish.
Yep, and I was thinking if it came up in time, Sir Celery was thinking about the flash.
Oh no.
Probably with how aggressive they're playing, as Ziad is a little low, will die here to the Requiem now, and a little bit of over-aggression? As, yeah, there goes Mango.
No, a lot of over-aggression. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, and that's the power of the Requiem. That's the power of Karthus. Is what the Heccin is just doing his own thing. Like it's what the Heccin. Talia, I don't think you want this fight.
Nope. What the heck in a ranged battle is not exactly going to win this one. No Maiden to help out either. So you are stuck in a pretty dang rough spot. No, well, you're able to summon it now, but how much is it really going to do? Solar Flare on the back end, though. You're able to turn it around at least for 1, turn it into a 2, and maybe 1 more behind. But no, it's a double kill for Attack Dog, who is unleashed and drawn into the pit. Wild kills back and forth as everyone just wants gold.
Solo Q. Solo Q.
It really is. This is what it is. Just, can we get a kill? Sure, go for it.
Yeah, 23 to 26. 2,000 gold lead, but who cares about a gold lead right now when SolitarySkill has to jump over the wall to make sure they don't get caught out by Sir Celery. At this point, what do you even say? Like, they're going for the kills, and for Quantum Order, it's been working out a little bit more of the time, but not much more, as it's only a 3 kill difference and a 2,000 gold lead in your favor, 2,500 gold lead in your favor. You're just happy if you're on the side of Emberwolves that you did not give over grubbed kills to what the Heccin, because you would not have anything left, really. At least you have that to stall out the game a little bit more. And you're lucky also that it's Cloud Soul, because no one really likes Cloud Soul. Ziad, sir, that hurts. Ow. That's my official analysis. Ow.
Ziad did it once and thought they could do it again, and Solitaire is like, bro, I am Jax. I don't know what you're trying right now. That was a brutal death to watch for. What the heck, I'm gonna get the same treatment as LostinEkkos, as this is a 4v1 right now. This is going to be a brutal end. The rest of the team is trying to chase. If Quantum Order can get the rest of the members up, maybe they can do something. Arrow from back line hits, but it does not stop the onslaught. And now it is Ember Wolves with the split pusher of Dreams. And it's Quantum Order to try and slow them all down. Oh, Pyroclasm didn't bounce. Pyroclasm barely bounced at all, which means your raw damage is gone. Mango barely has any of their own right now. They're level 15 with only about 3.5 items, and this is going to be death. Quantum Order flew a little bit too close to the order, and executing the order is going to be difficult. 3 left alive for Ember Wolves, as they're going to try for this Baron, which they more than can do. Quantum Order going ahead, licking their wounds as things have taken a turn for the worst.
A little too much fighting, a little too much solo queue means that they're now losing the game. Like, they have been throwing the past few fights, and Jax has taken 2 turrets in their face with nothing, and it's gonna be hard for Quantum Order right now. Like, they've been matching this York really nicely these past few minutes. The last 2 fights around the York have been perfect because they've been at times when there's nothing else on the map except for wherever York is. So yes, Cloud Soul might go over, but it may not, considering how they're all there for it. I wouldn't be concerned if Cloud Soul goes over because it's not that great of a soul. They do stun up the they stun lock Jerry there to make sure that they can't get a steal on it. They do get Cloud Soul, but you're now on the wrong side of the rift, and this is not looking good for Sir Celery here. As they do get Pyroclasm bounce, but it's just not enough.
Nope. I mean, at this point, Ember Wolves are like, we are the best, and I can't disagree with them. Take a look at the tanky stats. We mentioned the raw damage and the power. Janto is barely a tank of their own, and now they have to scatter. This is just bullying of the highest order at this point. SolitarySkill dancing in front, jumps in, dodges, and slams them down. The mallet, the absolute lamppost of destruction. On the other side, though, what the heck, and gets a 1v1 against the Talia, but it's still almost a lost cause. Maiden pushing on the top side, though, is what the heck is trying to take more. This is what the heck going. The game's all on my back right now.
Yeah, Jerry chasing him down. This is not where you want to be also at the same time. What the heckin does get into it, but it's just they don't have what they need. They have to get out, and they're not going to be able to, getting stunned up there. They're going to get caught out, and it's going to go over to SolitarySkill. That's fine. Ziad, you don't want to be there either. And, I mean, now Ember Wolves just need to close out the game. They need to play a clean game of League of Legends from here on out. Okay, because they're going to clear... I was like, excuse me, Attack Dog? But they're clearing out the bot wave to make sure they don't have it hitting the inhib. That's a good, actually really good use of the ultimate, considering that it's already almost halfway back up as Ziad. That hurts.
All right. I mean, it's another fight here as Jerry gets stunned up. This is the best chance for the side of Quantum Order to try and get a kill. Jerry's going to flash in, though, try and get in the mix, but barely gets anything behind it. SolitarySkill goes in and slams it down. Sir Celery is nothing but dead. The night falls, and all of a sudden, things go wrong so quickly. After the Dragon Steal, it feels like all hope was lost. Ember Wolves burn with the fury of 1,000 suns. They say, yo, you ain't getting away. I get my damage and then some. An arcane shift forward means Attack Dog is really dang strong. A little bit of shift does nothing but hold off, as that's Nexus Tower 1 down. This is going to be LostinEkkos, ensuring Tower 2 falls. And what the heck goes, what the heck happened to this game? It all gone sideways, and the boat is overturned. Ember Wolves turn it around in game 3 and take the series.
Another 2-1 win for Ember Wolves in an interesting fashion. I won't say that it was clean because it wasn't. It was a very solo QS game for game number 3, but they did what they needed to, right? They got the Nexus, they won the game. All that matters at the end of the day is, yes, we like to see clean League of Legends, but who knocked down the Nexus against who? That's what matters. And in this instance, Ember Wolves did it just a little bit better by taking 2 Nexuses versus Quantum Order's 1 in this series. A lot of takeaways from this map, from this matchup, right? Quantum Order came out swinging, throwing haymakers in game 1, dominating Ember Wolves, but Ember Wolves recovered, came back, and dominated game 2 and was a slugfest of a game 3 that went their way. So there's a lot to be said for coming back against a game 1 like that and taking the victory in the series and reverse sweeping it. For Quantum Order, though, we're going back to the drawing board a little bit. You have good compositions. You need to just close out the game and not get so kill hungry, it feels like.
See what they can do, of course, bounce back, and of course in this current moment we'll see how they do. It was very fun watching the series tonight. Blastcone is obviously my MVP for the match, but both teams had their own, and we'll see how it plays out any further. That first game was one to watch. Of course, the second and third were all Ember Wolves, and we'll see if they can do it again next week if possible. The Crunch Time Infinity League is done for the evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Orbital. With me has been Ice Fire Ride, and as well as Chippy on production. We appreciate y'all joining in, and have a fantastic night.